Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's coverage of the Full Length Cup Challenge. This evening we're excited to bring you the big race. It's the FLCC 500 from iRacing's virtual Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. Maconi Entertainment is here to bring you action from all types of racing, with the top split for the Maconi Cup Series and Fast Fridays. No matter what you're racing, we can bring the action to life. My name's Justin Prince. Alongside the booth for tonight is Kirk Mills. Marty Sakawa is our producer for tonight's coverage here from the World Center of Racing. Tonight, it's the big race, Kirk. It's been weeks of preparation leading into tonight. Some exciting racing in the Clash. The battles when it comes to the duels just a week ago, and now a 45-car grid ready to race tonight.
Absolutely. This is the big one. This is what we've all been waiting for, counting down the weeks all the way since just last year at the end of the year when we ran at Homestead for the season finale. It all leads to here. We are back ready to go for the Super Bowl of stock car racing, the FLCC 500. 45 cars have made the field, and it is an absolutely star-packed field from representing 25 states and 3 countries. This is going to be, quite frankly, one of the best races that you might see on iRacing in the modern day.
It should be a fun night, and in turn, we're going to go flying around Daytona International Speedway. Open since 1959, 31 degrees of banking when it comes to the World Center of Racing. The speeds for drivers have been reaching around the 200-mile-an-hour mark with the most recent updates to the draft package for tonight. And that's going to also impact the ability for drivers to be able to work around this pack. We've seen people lose the pack easily in the duels a week ago. It's going to be an interesting challenge to see who's going to negotiate to the front in the pack.
Absolutely. A lot of drivers are going to have to learn to be able to stick with the pack and realize that, hey, maybe not making a bunch of side drafting is going to be a better idea for the whole collective, and that way we don't all lose the draft together. I think these drivers know what's coming. They know what they have to do. Now it's all about execution. They've had time since the duels to be able to prepare their car, fix their setup, and then, maybe this time they might not have that big of an issue, but we'll see what they bring to the table here at Daytona. Place I love to go to every single year. Great racetrack. And honestly, whenever these drivers get out there and start racing, this is whenever all the fireworks go off. Sit back, relax. This is going to be one of those shows where you might not even want to get up off the couch. So it's going to be worth watching.
Going to be very worth watching here tonight. These drivers throughout tonight going to have a lot of action to go on, to say the very least. We will have stages as well, by the way, in this series for this season. 65 and 130 are the end of stage 1 and 2. Let's take a look at the Maconi Sub Race analysis. Once again, you see those stages at 65, 65, and 70 on the distances. 200 laps on the docket. 3 attempts at a green white checker available if necessary. Remember, we are driving open setups for tonight for these teams. Qualifying already taking place over the past couple of weeks to be able to try and lock yourself into the show. 45 cars are just about set to go racing. Let's take a look at how they'll start. Adam Benefield from Pell City, Alabama starts on the pole tonight for Team Conti. It's RH Motorsports driver Jonathan Delaney in second. Then it's your top runners involving the duels. Jeremy Miller from Premier Racing from New Jersey starts in third. Bobby Anderson gets the 4th spot in the field with Dirty Self Racing. Then it's a trio of Fortis Motorsports entries in the order. Derek Heitman, Matt DiCiani, and Patrick Gitter amongst your top 7. Then it's Dustin Hall from Team Conti in 8th. BMP's Chris Davis in 9th, and Devin Medeiros from Charlotte, North Carolina rounds of the top 10 for Lunar Racing Performance.
Starting in the 11th place spot tonight, driving the 12th car is Nolan Hodgkin. And it looks like after them, starting in 12th, will be Ralph Hutchinson from Colorado. Following that will be 13th, car number 29, Tanner Marty from Washington. Starting in 14th will be the number 44 of Billy Brickley from Illinois. Starting in 15th will be the number 92 of Clayton Hoffman from Cooksville, Tennessee. Starting in 16th will be the number 13 car of Cameron Thompson from Butte, Montana. Starting in 17th will be number 65, Sean O'Brien Jr., followed by 18th, Brandon Hastings. 19th place will be Lucas Hoedsma. 20th will be Victor Fluger.
Then it's Seminario in 21st, Kevin Soziak 22nd. Then it's Tower Hunter and Evan Mesnard from Horizon Racing. Robert Miller starts 25th tonight. Cameron Stone in 26th. Then it's Larry McDonald and Paul Hill. Shane Davis and Alex Princeton rounds out your top 30.
31st is going to be Thomas Kulmacheski, followed by Ed Ryan in 32nd, Matthew Long in 33rd, 34th Alex Murray, 35th is going to be Ryan Jones, 36th is going to be Stephen Williams, 37th will be Jedi Taylor, 38th will be Jordan Person, and 39th will be Andrew Dyson, with 40th being Neil Pearson.
Rounding out the field, John Williams will start in 41st. Carl Dodson for Fortis back in 42nd. Chad Sanner in 43rd. Christopher Hill in 44th. Dave Hoytsma rounds out the field. Of note, Carl Dodson did not make it in time for the starting grid procedure. He will start from pit road here tonight. Just about all set to go for tonight. Your keys to victory quickly, Kirk, as we get ready to go racing for 500 miles.
So after watching all the Daytona 500s and the special events in the Open Series, the number one thing I saw is over-aggressive driving too early. These drivers have got to be calm. They got to figure out a method to be able to save fuel, get through this race, and the only way you can win this race is if you are there at the end of the race. We'll see what happens as the pace car dives into the pit lane. Here we go.
Green, green, green.
Green flag is out. We're underway. The FLCC 500 is rolling.
Oh, that inside line got a great jump as they head down into turn number one. Looks like they cleared 2 car lengths, but here comes that outside line. I guarantee you we'll see a little bit of a run as they head past that lap car on the bottom of the racetrack. They just came out of the pits. We'll see if they're able to tag onto the back of the pack. But it looks like 5 cars on the bottom have already cleared as they exit turn 2.
Full pace down the back straight away. That bottom line starting off perfect to begin the action so far. Benefield with the help of Jeremy Miller. Top line did not go anywhere. Delaney is already dropped to the edge of the top 10. That's how big the run has already gone for the yellow line for the drivers at the bottom, and most people have migrated to the bottom as the first lap closes. First lead lap of the season goes to Benefield.
After winning his dual race, winning the pole position, he is running away with this thing out of the gate. He's got a lot of help from Jeremy Miller, who also won his heat. Doing a great job today, running in the front. We'll see what their strategy might be. Maybe work together. We'll see. They're following behind them is Derek Heitman, running there in that number 76 car. You're looking right now at the back of Miller as we head into turn 3 and 4. Back onto the straightaway. It looks like only 8 cars are now single file at the front of this pack.
Yeah, all still trying to get themselves really solidified, so to speak, when it comes to momentum. A couple people are trying that top line, and we expect it to be not in regards to a sprint. You're thinking of it long term. Here's one of the onboards. This is Hodgson, one of the drivers in VR tonight. Oh, the top line coming up to block up.
Yes, it's Heitman and Gitter pulling up in front of Hodgson. He probably loving that VR headset, by the way. I'm a VR headset racer myself, but it looks like because of that, him, Gitter, and Heitman all go up, and they're now even with the top 3 guys. Gitter is pushing Heitman pretty hard, and he's squirrely. He's bouncing all over the place. Almost turned Heitman there. Up, we got to be careful. It's only lap number 3 at the beginning of this race. But man, that outside line is sticking a whole lot better than they did in the duels. They are all there, and that bottom line's dying out. Here they go down to the bottom. Heitman and Gitter and Hodgson all clear down to the bottom. That bottom lane now has the advantage. 4 cars clear on the bottom.
Hodgson, the highest running of the privateers coming into tonight. The highest of the non-sponsored cars, in fact. But it's now a team 1-2 for Fortis Motorsports, trying to control things at the moment. still attempting to get things going. A lot of pushing for the Dirty South Racing car of Bobby Anderson. He just has not been able to get the power going when it comes to the run for Delaney so far. They continue to go backwards.
Absolutely. Hodgson was a very aggressive pusher, along with Gitter. Gitter was very aggressive as a pusher as well. And because of that, I think that's why they got up to the front and they were able to clear themselves. However, I don't think Bobby's pushing too aggressively this early. He knows it ain't time to do that. He's okay with where he is currently. Second car on the outside line, not a terrible thing, but he's got to start making some headway to be able to get up to the front. It's absolutely his choice on whether or not he likes where he is. It seems like he does. He'd be pushing a little harder otherwise. But out of everybody here, it looks like that the whole, we had Beneful. Here he goes up to the outside, being pushed on the outside by Miller. He's going to try and get by. They got by Hodgson, but here comes Gitter up the block. Heitman up the block. Down goes Benefil to the bottom, being pushed by Miller. Back to the lead. Adam Benefil back to the lead.
Some aggressiveness so far up front. We're only 6 laps into the season, and so far some of these drivers making it clear they want track position. Already the outside having a better line for the straightaway once again. But we've seen throughout the entire run so far, those Fortis machines, in particular Derek Heitman, has been really aggressive on the block. He likes to be the Pied Piper. That time he blocked the run from Delaney.
Yeah, we saw this during, I believe it was the Clash. It could have been also the duels. Heitman was one of those guys that was pretty hard to pass. The winner of the race that Heitman was trying to battle with had to go all the way up to the wall. I believe that was Miller that race. Going all the way up to the wall to be able to get by Heitman. But now Gitter has taken the lead, and he moves up to the top lane. Here comes Benefil down to the bottom now, trying to take over the lead. Right now, they're just trading positions back and forth. This is awesome. A lot better than single file racing. And right now, it looks like they're just having some fun up front. Gitter now with the lead as he has an advantage heading down into turn number 3 once again. And he goes right back down to the bottom. Heitman goes to the top. They are even, and now that bottom line is going to stall. Here comes Heitman and Delaney to take the top 2 spots on the outside out of 4.
Forza so far has been controlling the lines. See how the teamwork continues to play out to control things. But the top 3 on the top already able to clear on by Gitter. Looks like Anderson doesn't elect to clear with the close call, but Heitman working with Delaney. And we know Delaney going to be someone to contend for the championship throughout this season. Outside front row, able to now get back up to the front after the poor start from the outside.
Absolutely. He dropped all the way back to about 15th spot on the outside line before the outside line started to get that big run, and he's worked his way all the way back up to second, which shows as long as you have a great pusher on that outside line, you will make it back up to the front. It's just a matter of having the momentum, having a great line pushing together, and knowing when to push and when not to push. They're doing a great job so far, as it looks like we have a new driver going up to the top. That is Jeremy Miller. Nope, he just made a little bit of a joke there, trying to go up to the top. They have be pushed by Bobby, but he decides to pull right back down. Probably a smart decision this early in the race, but again, he's riding right behind Alex Benefil. So if Alex moves up, you could be best assured that Miller will go with him.
For those wondering, by the way, right now there are 42 cars in the main pack. 3 cars have lost the draft. Carl Dodson, Dave Hoytsma, Chad Sanner are those 3 that have fallen off so far. 15 seconds for Dodson and Dave Hoytsma. Sanner has fallen 45 seconds so far. Everybody else has maintained the pack. Most people staying towards the front, except for people like Shane Davis and Matthew Long, who have gained double-digit spots in that outside line to be able to get themselves moving forward. So for the most part, people maintain the track position. There's a lot of people that want to get it, though, that will see a lot of big movers as this night goes on for stage points especially.
Yeah. So one thing I do got to mention is Chad Sanner actually has a lot of front end nose damage. I believe it may be from one of the pushing glitches that they have currently, where if you get close up behind one of the cars here at Daytona and just a bad ping or something happens with the internet, it causes your front end to get absolutely killed. And I think he had that happen to him back on like lap 3 or 4. Then he lost the draft, which is why I think there's now a separation between this lead pack being led by Heitman and also this second second pack that is starting to develop. Right behind, it looks like Neil Pearson is currently leading that line, pushed by Evan Mesnard. Those are the two leading that second pack, as the lead pack are still running side by side down the back straightaway, with momentum coming to Miller on the outside. Jeremy Miller even with Patrick Gitter on the outside heading into 3.
They're trying to get the power around the outside to make the move, but no change for the time being here. Still 11 laps into the race so far. Things look to settle down a little bit, so to speak, in the early going. We'll say, keep an eye on the 79, 29 to 13 so far for Shane Davis. One of the drivers had to race his way in. He's on the move, with Robert Miller also going from 25th to 11th.
I talked to Shane Davis before the race, and he even helped. He asked for my help with getting him set up with his contingencies. He's so excited about this event. He had no idea how the heck to put it on there, so he didn't get a penalty after this race. He got it done and set up, and he's out here driving, trying his best to be able to, try and keep up with these guys. It's great that he was able to go from the back to the front like that, which is why it's Daytona. You're able to do that. You can go from the back to the front rather easily. Now as we're coming to complete lap number 12, starting lap number 13, man, we got a long way to go, 200 laps, and it looks like the front pack, the front 5 cars, 6 cars even, have started to, looks like, calm down a little bit. Patrick Gitter with the lead, Derek Heitman in second, Jonathan Delaney in third, Adam Benefil in fourth, with Jeremy Miller and Nolan Hodgson in sixth.
Hodgson wants to find his way up to the front here and try and get some laps on the board, it looks like, with some of those moves. Chris Davis is that 74 car at the bottom of the racetrack, by the way, in the Toyota. Fills the gap to close the things. Oh, lap traffic getting a little bit squirrely. That was Sanner.
Yep, Sanner, he had a lot of front-end damage. He knows it, and right now he's hoping for a caution. He absolutely needs one. That's his only way he's going to be able to get back into the race. Lucky for him, he is the only car 1 lap down. Dave Hoytsma and Carl Dodson are pushing each other, so that they might last a little bit longer before the pack will catch them, but eventually they will. However, at this point, that driver right now needs some sort of, somebody to throw a piece of protective lining outside of their cars, so that way we can get a caution to help him get a wave around. He can get that damage repaired, and then he gets a lucky dog, get back on the lead lap. But it's going to be a long shot before you could ever have that happen. As the outside line, I see a little bit of momentum building. Here comes Nolan to the outside. I don't know if he's going to be able to get there or not. To the outside goes Heitman, trying to dump Gitter like that. Wow. Delaney and Heitman move ahead of Gitter. A little bit of a checkup on the bottom as well.
And you have to be careful when you have these types of blocks right now. One big checkup effect, and you might have an incident pop up from that, Kirk.
Yes, the one thing I'm worried about is that these guys are pushing so hard. Look, Benefil, Gitter, they're all swerving in and out. They have drivers who are pushing them pretty dang hard. Right now, we got Jeremy Miller pushing Benefil, who is pushing Gitter, and when you have 3 cars pushing each other, that makes that middle car really squirrely. And then squirrely means it wants to spin out. You lose control. It gets loose, light. It doesn't feel like you're planted at all. So whenever you get that squeeze, it's like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. You can't really go anywhere, and you just hope to goodness that the pushes are square. But as we have Heitman pull down to try and hold the lead, right now the fight, it seems like, is for control of this race, and right now Heitman is winning it, and he is winning it by a long shot. We'll see if he's able to hang on to it, as Delaney being pushed by Hodgson on the outside, with Bobby Anderson pushing him as well. Here they come. Outside lines got some momentum. Heading down into turn number 3, they are now even side by side for a moment there. We'll see who will prevail out of 4. Outside line looks like it's a little less organized. Here comes the bottom back, and they head to the line to complete lap number 16 into lap number 17, as we have a little seizure in the front of the pack there. My goodness.
Apologies for the technical issues as we continue on with the pack right now. I will say this, eventually they'll have to think about something they didn't really do during the duels soon, Kirk. In about 15, 20 laps or so, it'll be pit party time. And they'll have a lot of pit stops. 8 tire sets available for tonight's race. These drivers will have to make multiple green flag pit stops in theory.
talking about strategy here right now. Tires aren't going to be too big of a deal for everybody. I don't believe that's going to be a big problem. I think the number one thing that we're going to want to look for as Delaney moves down to the bottom in front of Heitman, that puts Hodgson up to the lead. The one thing that you want to look for in terms of strategy, fuel save. You want to be able to get as much fuel save to where you can pit at the latest possible moment. So that way you can, keep the momentum. However, there are some people that like to get a large group of people together, maybe 4, 5, 6 cars, and they could all come down together, and then they could actually gain time. Whoa, Bobby Anderson almost lost that race car on the back straightaway. Got a bad push from Delaney. Hodgson on the outside being pushed by DeCiani, and it looks like they're even heading into 3. But again, that strategy that we're looking for is about fuel saving. Bobby Anderson, the current owner of the lead, leading this thing in that beautiful 5 Kellogg's Ford Mustang. Absolutely nice to see running here at Daytona.
Yeah, Anderson with the Terry Labonte and the Kyle Busch throwbacks throughout this entire weekend so far. Changed the paint schemes for the last time. This time, going with the Kyle Busch look here tonight. Still plenty of planning and plotting to continue on. We'll take a quick step aside. Coming up to lap 20, the racing continues here from Daytona.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
I highly recommend it. You won't find anybody as good as Jam Printing.
Jam is a friendly and professional company that just doesn't do print to make sure that you grow and your business grows to the next level.
They are a very community-focused organization. They donate to every event in the area.
Every time I hand out one of JM's printed materials, I get a ton of compliments, and that's the power of JM printing.
One thing with JM is it is a veteran-owned company, and that really resonates with me.
JM Printing is like no other. Their dedication to customer service is amazing.
If you're looking to amp up your marketing, JM Printing and Promotions is the place to go.
Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's coverage of the FLCC 500 here on Maconi Entertainment. Justin Prince, Kirk Mills with you, Marty Sakawa producing, as the pack has maintained its side-by-side racing through the break. Still a few laps away from the pit stop window here, but right now this pack still remains 29 cars deep.
Absolutely, everybody's still stuck up here in this front pack. It looks like that there is only one pack as well that is about 10 seconds back. You might notice that it might say that some drivers are out currently in the ticker. That is going to be a technical issue. As we come up on Sander, who's a lap car, he'll go to the apron. But that technical issue there is just going to show them as out, but they are not out. We will be sure to update you until that gets fixed. But in the meantime, these lead pack, we have about 6 cars on the bottom that are clear. Right now it's Heitman, Gitter, Delaney, Hodgson, and Miller on the bottom, with Bobby Anderson leading the outside line.
Worth knowing that Derek Heitman from his blocks has actually damaged the back of his race car. Sherpy realizes that the left rear is crumpled in. You see a lot of scrapes there as his teammate Gitter goes to the outside of the race lead. Some of these blocks are getting to wear, the bumpers are getting crumpled.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think it's going to hurt him too bad, but you saw it right there. He got passed up pretty quickly, and it looks like he has a lot more drag than he may have had earlier in the race. One of those blocks may have been a little bit too hard, and maybe a little bit of ping, unfortunate ping, might have hurt him a little bit here. So we'll see if he's able to, recover from this. But in the meantime, he's still being a great pusher, helping Gitter move out to the lead here as we're looking at them going down the back straightaway. On board now with Hodgson on the outside. You can see him wearing that VR headset. He looks like he's dreaming in that thing. Look at him. He's like, oh, man, this is awesome. I get to drive a race car. That's probably what he's thinking in his mind right now as he leads that outside line being pushed by Bobby Anderson.
Yeah, he's been doing a really good job this race so far, the early going. But teamwork makes the dream work, right? And that communication from Fortis has to be on point. They have been working as a team to maintain these lines all throughout this run. Both Heitman and Gitter have made sure they're swapping back and forth to make sure they're usually the leader.
That's right. Control both lanes. You want to have one on the bottom, one on the top, and stay side by side. Even though they might push you to go ahead, whenever that happens, just pull down in front of your teammate. You'll pull away, and then just pull back up and control both lanes. That is the definition of how you're able to control the pack at Daytona and Talladega, and even Atlanta in some cases. Oh, Delaney just pushed Heitman to the point where he almost lost it off turn 4 there. And see what I was talking about. He lost momentum. Gitter goes to the front. Heitman's going to now push Gitter going into turns 1 and 2. As we have some cars go below the yellow there. They're okay. They're fine. Don't worry about it. Coming through turns 1 and 2 now. Here comes the push from Heitman. Heitman's all tucked up on the back bumper of Gitter. And whenever they come off the corner, Gitter, once he has a chance, he might come up to block the 12 if the 12 has a run. If he doesn't have a run, he'll stay right there on the bottom, which it looks like he's going to try and do. He might go up here in 3, though. 12 looks like he's going to develop a run here in about a lap, so we'll see if he does it going into 1 or not. But Delaney giving Heitman a good shove as well, trying to make sure that that bottom line stays proficient in the pack, essentially.
It is worth noting to keep in mind for today, there is a yellow line rule in effect for tonight where drivers can't put 2 tires underneath that yellow line and make a pass. The only exception to that rule is the final lap in the tri-oval, meaning drivers on that final lap can move to the flat to try and battle for the race win that way. Outside of that, you can't use that yellow line to make passes to go underneath it, say down the back straightaway or anything like that, just like you would see in real life, with the exception to that final lap rule.
Yeah, another exception would be if there's a crash and you have to miss it. How are you going to miss it? You got to go below to yell at. Just like you might have saw earlier today in the ARCA race, Cletus McFarland dived down in the pit lane trying to miss that giant crash, and he said it was the most free he ever felt. So all these drivers got to keep that in mind. You are in the greatest country there ever is, and you're getting to drive in the biggest race of the FLCC season. You got to have a ton of good feeling as you head through this race that you're actually able to do this. You're in a position where you can, in life, where you can make it to this and you can compete at a high level and have a ton of fun doing it. But right now we're coming up on a point where I start focusing a little less on how free you feel and about how much fuel you've got left in your tank. We're coming down to the end of this fuel run. We got 31 laps here done, but in the next 10 laps, 15 laps or so, we're going to see these guys come into the pit lane, and I think that's something they might want to start setting up for. If you see a hole to the bottom, I'd get in it as quickly as possible. But with the way that they're currently driving, I don't see a hole opening up anytime soon unless there's a teammate like that right there, where there's a slight hole developed, but they're side by side. They can't get down. We'll see what they're able to do as we get closer to pit stops.
Yep, looking like some people are starting to find holes to be able to plan for the pit stops. That top line has really died off from earlier on as they slow down and try and find some holes as cars jump down. Let's talk about the second pack a little bit. You take a look at some of the air cards at the moment. These are some of the people at risk of losing a lap by pit stops. Komacheski, Dodson, and Hoytsbelt. You also have some other packs that have splintered off. For example, Princeton, Pearson, Jason S. Taylor, Ryan S. Jones all the way back 17 seconds. Then you have an hour pack led by Christopher Hill, who's currently running in 30th, 12 seconds back of the leader. These groupings are running 46.2s. The leaders are 45.9s at the moment.
I'm seeing about maybe 5 packs total. I mean, by packs, I mean three or more cars. I'm seeing about 5 of them. 12 seconds, 18 seconds, 28 seconds, 34 seconds. I think maybe 3 or 4 there. But at this point, this lead pack is, I mean, how are they going to be able to catch back up? And the truth of the matter is they think, I believe, if they are doing this on purpose, they're doing this so they can avoid the big one. One mistake, especially on pit road entry, this is when it all gets hectic. You know, right now it's not that the outside line lost any horsepower or that they're intentionally going to the back. It's just that they're trying to plan and coordinate when they're going to come down to the pit lane. And now it looks like they have more momentum. They're going to come back up to the front. Maybe the best method, instead of finding a hole, is make a hole. Get up to the front, get down to the bottom. That's another way to do it.
Could be absolutely a little bit of an apron hit there for Miller. Having to hold on to it, expecting the pit stop wave soon. As here's Bobby Anderson's camera viewpoint. See him dialed in with the racing gloves on. And keep in mind, you see that checker flag in the background? In addition to $100 for the race winner tonight, there's also a customized checker flag going to the winner of this race.
Oh yeah, and actually not just the winner. Turns out he made 3 of those flags, and the entirety of the podium is going to be getting one of those flags. We found that out yesterday when we were talking about the Xfinity Series race. They have the Friday Night Lights series here with the Full Length Cup Challenge, and you'll be seeing me compete in that full time this season. But they mentioned that they made 3 flags for the top 3 finishers in this race. So absolutely very happy to see that. Going to reward everybody as we have pit stops. Adam Benefield goes down into the pit lane. He's slamming on the brakes, smoking up those tires, and it looks like he comes on down with Dustin Hall, Cameron Stone, and Johan Seminario.
So the Conti cars all coming down together in a pit wave. Looks like they are wanting to try something different, try and see if they can jump the field and get a separation to the head of the pack.
Yeah, with those guys doing that, I mean, everybody else is probably looking at that and thinking, okay, might be time to pit. We'll see what they do as they come down to complete lap number 36 into 37. They come off a pit lane. I don't see anybody going with Benefield. He might have to slow up to make sure somebody can get with him, but here we come off turn 4. Who's going to join? Nobody. Nobody pitting this lap, so that's actually going to hurt the Conti cars. Also, Dustin Hall is still sitting on pit lane. He has not left his pit stall.
Looks like he's got a black flag. Dustin Hall having to serve a penalty from his pit situation. That's because...
Too fast entering.
Yes. So that means he's going to lose the draft and potentially lose a lap here off and away with a black flag. That's going to be a gut punch to his chances for this race, just like that. But let's see if anybody peels down from the lead pack here. Top has really dropped back yet again. Anyone peeling down? The answer is not anybody else for now. It looks like a lot of these drivers try to extend the fuel as long as possible.
Yeah, they're being really smart right now because the Conti guys are really hard to beat. Every single week you're going to see them up in the front. And right now there is a mistake in the Conti camp. They all came down pit lane, and some of them had issues, some of them didn't, but they're separated. They are going to go way slower than the pack right now. The smartest decision the pack can make is stay out as long as possible, and they lose more seconds each time that they go around. They're about 40 seconds behind the lead pack. However, 3 of them are already stacked up. Beneful, Seminario, and Stone. They're going about 192, 193 down the straights. And the leader of this... Oh, here we go. Time to take some pit stalls. Here comes Gitter and Delaney and Hoyt and Heitman and the whole pack here. Holy cow, they almost went into the grass. I'm sure not a single one of them probably hit pit road speed. We'll have to see.
The answer is to that question, no mistakes on the pit entry in terms of speed at least. The pitway makes the way to the pit box. It's going to be complicated for those in the back today, to say the very least. Next wave, expect them to come in this time, if not the next. Bobby Anderson nearly got hit by Billy Brickley. Brickley doing a solid job so far as maintaining the lead pack. And now one of the privateers for Sofa King Fast Sim Sports. Coming in this time by, Anderson goes a lot deeper.
Whoa, slow her down, Bobby. There you go. I don't know if he made it. I think he might have made it, maybe. The rest of the pack heads down. It looks like I don't see any pit road mistake. Oh, actually a little contact with the wall, perhaps, with one driver, a little too close to it. But Bobby Anderson here pulling in, leading this separate pack. And that leaves the new leader of this pack. I think it's going to be maybe Christopher Hill, I think, is now leading. I'm pretty sure it's him who's now currently in control of this without... I don't think they've pitted quite yet.
Yeah, they're going long, it looks like, at the moment. Kevin Soziak just indicated on the radio in the Ladybug machine, as well as Christopher Hill. They are pitting this time by. They'll still need that caution to be able to regroup for the end of the stage. Keep an eye on this pit entry as Hill elects to go deep. Goes really deep on the entry. Will he get to the speed limit? Just about did, yes. Has no problems in this group.
Great job. I mean, honestly, I'm always stunned with how these drivers are able to get from like 200 miles an hour coming off turn 4 to 60 by that cone. It's a very talented thing you can do, and to be able to do it right is always awesome to see. But now we're going to have to take a look and see who's going to take over the lead. We had a couple things happen in this. Thomas Kulmacheski, Carl Dodson, Dave Hutzma, they are all now 1 lap down. And we'll see how long that lasts, as it looks like the new leader of this race, I believe, might be Robert Miller in the 15 car.
That's interesting to say the least. Yes, it is. It's Miller time up at the front. Top 2 Millers at the moment. And that kind of solidifies his good pit stop situation in terms of time, in terms of box. Now he's gone from all the way from the 20s to the race lead on track. Still about 25 laps to go in the stage.
Yep, 25 laps to go in the stage. Very exciting. We'll see who's going to be able to take home those playoff points. Right now, these guys in this front pack, they are all going to be guaranteed to get some stage points. So right now, I don't think they're going to race too aggressively. I think they're going to be smart about this, as it looks like they're coming up on John Williams, who is currently staying on the bottom. They're going to have to go up and miss him. Here comes the snake. I love when they do that. It's called, in my opinion, oh, they're wrecking down the backstretch. We have 1 car around. there on the infield. No caution, the caution's out. Yep, 100%. It looks like it is Tyler Hunter in the grass, sitting there. Damage on the right rear. I have no idea what caused that, but I saw smoke, and he has gone around.
Our Hunter, one of the drivers with an onboard camera, doesn't look too happy there as he brings out the first caution of the season. Take a look at a replay if we can here in a moment. He had some contact, can tell you, with the 74 of Chris Davis down the straightaway. Let's take a look.
All right, let's see here. I believe he may have disappeared on the replay. We're going to see here. I'm going to check on mine just to make sure, but on the replay here, he just vanished, and I think he... Oh, no, he got spun there. Down to the infield. Not the best of situations there. That's unfortunate.
So this coming just after pit stops. Shouldn't see anybody duck down here. This puts us under caution for the first time this season. Not bad so far, to say the very least, but the FLCC 500 is under yellow. We'll take a break. When we come back, the restart. You're watching Maconi Entertainment.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Aren't you sick of making double cheeseburgers by now? Lincoln Tech, the end of the dead end.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's coverage of the FLCC 500. Coming up to start lap 46, 155 to go in the race. Still coming up to 20 to go in the stage. Take a look at some of the driver cams as you see some perspectives from the field. Right now, the field getting itself ready for a restart. Everyone just trying to keep themselves calm for this green flag situation.
They're going to have to stay calm at this point because now they're all bunched back together and they're all going to be fighting for a stage win and trying to get that extra playoff point. So whenever we go to the playoffs, they have a better chance of winning the dang championship. We'll have to see what they have to do. But remember, it's the start of the season, but championship points, they matter, and they matter at every point in the season. So we'll see what they're able to do as the pace car dives in the pit lane. Here we go.
All set to go. Restart, the Millers on the front row. Robert Miller, Jeremy Miller back underway. The outside getting a great boost of speed through the gears with Delaney pushing Jeremy Miller to the point.
I think that may have been orchestrated. Looks like Robert Miller may have had a little bit of a slower start there to try and let Jeremy Miller in. I think that might have been planned, perhaps. As they head down the back straightaway, here comes the outside lane now. Let's take a look at that. That's DeCiani, and oh, to the wall. There it goes, a block by Miller up to the top. He now takes the outside line away, and he will now take the lead. Now we're going to have to differentiate these Millers. We got Jeremy on the bottom, and we got Robert on the top right now. That purple, you look for that purple front splitter. That will tell you that's Robert. Oh, they wreck through the grass. He's in the grass. Save it, buddy. Save it. There you go. Yeah, what a drive. They head out, and they are straight. They are still hanging on to it. Now they just got to be able to hang on to it as they head into turn 1 and 2. What a save. That was awesome.
Robert Miller not going to be happy about the lost track position, but indeed a phenomenal save after he tried to come down and make the block. He's all the way back at the back end of the lead pack as a result here. Up front, Delaney, DeCiani, now 1-2 as a result. Alex Murray has driven his way into the top 5. Benefiel as well.
Yep, new leader. Here comes Alex Benefiel to the outside, being pushed by Johan Seminario. He will lead that lap. DeCiani, Davis, we might get a replay here in a moment to see about that crazy save. I mean, that was amazing. I love seeing a nice little save with a little drive through the grass. You could do that here because it's nice and comfortable. Let's take a look here. We are on board, it looks like, looking out the back bumper. Just a little contact, goes through the grass, little bumpy. Just having a good old time. Ain't nothing gonna break his stride. Back onto the racetrack. He's still going. I don't think he even lost the draft. He did a great job.
Yes, indeed. So Conti now controlling things with a team 1-2. Now, the interesting thing when it comes to Johan Seminario's situation is he earlier today posted that he is driving with a broken spring in his pedal set. Found out before the race, mentioned, good thing Daytona is usually full throttle. Now, the spring's completely snapped. As long as he doesn't hit the gas, he thinks he's going to be okay. It's going to be a little bit concerning, though. If he has to hit the throttle hard at all, he's going to lose that throttle.
Yikes. Yeah, I didn't hear about that. That's wild. Oh, front. Davis thought he was clear. He is not. He thought better of it. We have a car blinking out there. He's able to come back just fine. But Davis on the outside, he's leaving the outside line right now. Chris Davis. He had a very dangerous situation just a moment ago he was able to recover from. And now Benefiel and Delaney both leading that inside with, looks like Stone giving Davis a giant shove. Cameron Davis, quite the character if you ever meet him. He got a little shove there from Mesnard. Man, he's trying to turn him. Crazy racing up front.
Trying to go with the triple car tandem. Haven't seen too much of that so far since the last update. This time, Stone taking himself to the bottom.
Oh, they're wrecking! The back of the pack, they're all around. It's the big one as they head through turns 3 and 4. Everybody's around. The 9, Hoffman's involved. 19, Taylor's involved. Princeton, hard contact. Dodson's in it. Hunter's in it. And a lot of cars are stacked up in turns 3 and 4.
Caution flag is out. Zodiac, Taylor, Hastings amongst those with mandatory damage from the incident. Bobby Anderson still sideways on the racetrack. Significant damage to the 5 car. A lot of hard hits. Our second yellow flag here.
Robert Miller's involved as well. He was leading this race, saved the car through the grass. He's a little bit of left front damage. I don't know if it's super terminal, but we'll have to look and see what happened. That was the big one in the back of the pack. That was wild.
Let's see what we have here. Started there, and then it got worse.
No. A lot of cars spinning and wrecking. Unfortunately, with some technical difficulties, we're not going to be able to catch the whole thing. But and the post-race highlights, whenever that gets uploaded, that will have this wreck 100%. But in the meantime, unfortunate situation for all those involved. Definitely going on board now with Bobby Anderson. He looks like he just had a checkup there, and he got rear-ended there, and everybody got collected, and unfortunately, just a big wreck.
Let's see what we get from Robert Miller. Not much. But here's Andrew Dyson.
Oh, there's some real-time stuff going on with Bobby Anderson. He slammed into the outside wall. Him and Miller were coming back to the back of the field, and they both just ran straight. It just went straight up into the wall. That was very odd. It's like they didn't see the pack there.
So a lot of people coming down for pit stops here, whether involved in the crash or in some cases just electing to come down to top off, maybe get some tires here. So this is going to shake up the field a little bit. Ralph Hutchinson of Munsell's down. Your lucky dog, this caution flag, John Williams. Taking our break under caution for the second time here for the FLCC 500.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Welcome back, everyone, to Maconi Entertainment as we get set for a restart. So far, a couple caution flags. The stage is in the midst, closing in towards a 12th lap shootout for stage 1.
All these cars are now lining back up after we had the big one. A lot of cars involved in that one. Bobby Anderson, Tyler Hunter, Ed Ryan, Andrew Dyson. A handful of cars that were involved in that incident, and more were involved as well. However, in this case, they're already down, taking care of their repairs. I don't think anyone's necessarily out of the race. The only driver who seems to be having the worst day so far is Chad Sanner. I do not see him on the racetrack anymore. He is currently listed as off tracks, 28 laps down. I don't see him continuing, but Taylor's got a lot of damage. Jason Taylor, that is, sitting 2 laps down on pit road right now, with Kevin Zodiac currently also on pit road trying to get damage repaired. Shane P. Davis also sitting on pit road. And those are all the 4 drivers that are currently not on track that I am currently seeing as we're coming through turns 3 and 4 to get the green flag to get back underway after that big crash. Luckily, it doesn't take too long to clean up the racetrack in this virtual environment, so not a long caution whatsoever.
Not long whatsoever, but we'll see how this restart goes here. It's Cameron Stone in control. It's Chris Davis on the outside. Miss Nard, Jeremy Miller at the top 4. Pace car is off. 12 to go in the stage.
Green flag, green flag.
Back and away. Good start for the inside. Bit of separation though. More pushing for the outside.
All right, here comes the Jaws music. That outside line, when they get going, oh boy, it's going to be good. Here comes that outside line. You just hear Jaws swimming up. He's going to bite you. Here comes Davis, Chris Davis to the outside, and Miller. That is Jeremy Miller. His brother got knocked out in that last one, but now they are up in the front with Gitter pushing Miller. Will Gitter come down with Beneful? They have a chance here. They got to do it now if they have to. Here comes Miller. Not enough time. Here comes Davis down the block. They go back up to the top. Davis on the bottom having to get pushed by Stone. Contact, little bit of door slamming. He saved it in the middle. They are now 3 wide, putting Stone down the back of the sucker hole. That is Cameron Stone. He was not happy about that one.
See some of the onboards with everyone laser focused. Stone amongst those down there, who is getting shuffled and shuffled all the way back outside the top 15. Not great for the Conti driver. But now, as you see on the main screen, Patrick Gitter retakes the lead with help from Seminario. Seminario able to get him on the bumper.
They head into turn number 3 now. That bottom line's going to have a little bit of momentum because Adam Benefil, pardon me, is currently pushing him up. But Gitter goes down the block, and he is now going to hold on to that bottom lane. And I think we're going to start seeing some games by Gitter here, trying to make sure he blocks both lanes. But if you take a look here, you also notice that the pack is split into 2. You have this pack starting with Gitter, ending with Brickley, and a second pack that is currently being led by Victor Pfluger, and they are double file back there as well.
Yeah, they're going to need to work hard if they want to keep up with this main pack for stage points. Less than 10 laps to go with the stage. Now to the inside, Seminario with the help of Jeremy Miller this time. He gets a huge run with that side trap from third on back.
Oh, man, these guys are just pulling away from everybody. Here comes Miller and Seminario, just gone. See you all next week. I won't see you as long as you keep pushing me like that. Your car's going to blow up, Mr. Miller. You might want to... Oh, we got a car going down to the infield. Red car on the backstretch. Or not on the backstretch, right here in turn number 1 and 2. It looks like we have another one who's trying to spin it. That is Andrew Dyson.
Neil Pearson has now backed out of the race. He had just parked it at the bottom of the racetrack. We still stay green. Bobby Anderson still significant damage. Wobbling down on the apron, lets the leaders go. Benefield getting shredded around by Alex Murray. Move Murray into the top 5. Premier cars looking pretty solid. You have Jeremy Miller up there. Now Alex Murray looking to join his teammate as he gets the bumper Gitter.
All right, we are about to, I believe the first one is going to be lap 65 to end the stage. Is that right? I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah, so 65. That means we're coming down to less than 10 to go in the stage. We're at 7 to go. These guys are going to be driving pretty dang harshly to try and, get some stage points. Right now, Miller's got it. Jeremy Miller driving like a madman, shot out of the cannon, trying to block every lane he can. Gitter, here he comes down to the bottom. Not enough time to make a block there. Gitter being pushed by Seminario now and Delaney.
Yet again, more lane changes. Fortis continues to look very strong. Gitter not going to be easy to be able to pass right now, but we'll see what happens the rest of this stage. Still a few more laps to work with on the board. Right now, Murray doing a good job pushing the outside. By the way, hearing that as well during one of the cautions, apparently Neil Pearson had also made contact with someone under caution. He just apologized for said situation. So Neil Pearson amongst the DNF list now in this one, it looks like. as that will put him into the 44 spot. Chad Center, still your first DNF. Back to the action itself. Benefield wants stage points. He's going back up front, coming up to 6 to go.
A lot of people are making some aggressive moves now, and this is where things get scary. If you make a move too late, you're going to end up wadding up this entire front pack. This is whenever you got to be safe and just understand, what are you racing for? Do you want to win the race, or you just want some stage points? I know that's why we have them, to be able to incentivize mid-race front pack running, but right now, I mean, you got to think about it. This is one of the biggest races of the year. Do you want to risk it all just for a few stage points? I don't know. I've always been on the side about that, but they want to try and get everything they can get. The race car drivers, they want to win every race they can. But that outside line, Miller and Benefield, here they come, but Gitter gets up there to block. Nice shove by Miller to the back of Gitter. Seminario and Delaney now lead the bottom. As DeCiani, Benefield, Miller, and Gitter all on the outside line. They have momentum. Heitman also a part of this mix on the outside behind DeCiani.
Less than 5 laps to go in stage 1. Gitter getting far ahead yet again. The tandem drafting seems to really work when you're really coordinated. We've seen that a lot up front. Benefield slots his way to the bottom. Another block from Gitter to the bottom of the racetrack.
Gitter did a great job being able to get where he is. I mean, at this point, Benefield, Gitter, and Seminario all working together here. They're all just playing around. DeCiani as well, Heitman and Miller. They're just trying to get the win of this dang stage. Gitter led that lap by 1/100th of a second, so not like there's close quarter racing whatsoever at all, right? Nah, it's absolutely great job by these drivers to stay clean so far. But we only have about maybe 3 laps to go left on the stage? The 2.5 laps as they head down the back straightaway? 4, is that right?
Coming to 3.
Coming to 3, thank you. Looks like that bottom line died out, and now DeCiani takes the lead. Heitman, Hoffman, and Murray, new top 4. What happened to the front back? The bottom line just died and then got replaced. It felt like that as they crossed this line to get 3 to go on the stage.
Still running out of time to be able to plan things out. Right now, Miller dropping back again. You know who's quietly moved his way into the front of this group too? It's Clayton Hoffman up to 3rd, behind 2 of the Fortis cars. Gitter makes it now, trying to join his teammates up front. There's a look at Hoffman. Right now, he's running the bottom in one of the Nitro Racing cars.
Oh, lap car. Yeah, those things always give me a little jittery, because every time I see one of them go by, it scares the heck out of the drivers too. But DeCiani coming out the block. Gitter, huge shot to the back of DeCiani. Heitman now trying to lead that bottom line with Hoffman pushing, but I don't know who's going to get it here. It's going to be close. We have 2 to go this time by. Pit lanes are now closed. You cannot use the pit lane now. Gitter tries to go to the bottom. DeCiani follows him down. No way, no how will DeCiani try to let Gitter by. Here we go down the back straightaway. Big run on the outside by Murray. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it all the way up to the front. We'll see. I think he's actually waiting for the right moment. Gitter's there on the bottom, still pushing DeCiani and Miller on the back bumper of Gitter. We'll see what they decide to do. What are they going to do as we come out of turn number 4 up to the wall? Around goes the 56. Huge crash. 13. Oh, he's upside down. 21's also wrecking. Another wreck. 21 of Patrick Gitter's involved. The 30 car also involved. That's Miller. One car still sliding on his lid. That is Johan Seminario sitting upside down at the entrance of pit lane.
Caution flag is out. That should be the stage. And my goodness, Johan can only hope but laugh. Already amongst those looking on the tow truck here as we're under caution with the big one. 2 different big crashes for your lead pack. Gonna change the complexion of this one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at this point, we had quite an accident there. I mean, to the point where a car was able to flip. Oh, wait, earlier in the week, let's take a look at this replay first, and I'll tell you the story. Up to the outside, Gitter goes, but a bad push leads to a huge crash. Multiple cars, one car just doing a flip and just sliding right down the straightaway there. He slid the whole way. I don't think I've seen a car crash like that in a long time, where they just slide, no flipping. It's just kind of crazy. Let's look at this again. What do you think happened there, Justin?
Look like contact in the middle of the corner. You can't really do that. This second pack looked like somebody made a push just after they cleared, and this is going to really shake up stage points. Jeremy Miller taking a lot of hits to his race car there. Pit stops are already underway here. DeCiani should have the stage here. Then behind them, we'll see how this gets all sorted with the pit stop situation. Gitter did get the team keep the track position at the end of 65. Heitman, Hoffman, Benefield, Davis, Hodson, and then Lucas Hoitzman, Rolf Hutchinson, and Billy Breckley is what we have for top 10.
Great job by the majority of these guys up front to be able to miss that wreck. It was really hard to do. A lot of cars spinning everywhere. I mean, it was something that's hard to do. I think it's going to be interesting to see like what this wreck does to their psyche. Are they going to be the type of person now that wants to still race as hard as they are, or is this something that makes them want to calm down, ride a single file for a little while? We got a long way to go. We're not even halfway in this race yet. We just passed a quarter of the way through and just hit the first stage, and now it's time for I think these guys need to relax for a moment, take a deep breath, and think about how much longer they got in this race.
Let's take a quick break. Restart coming up to start stage 2 right after this.
Aren't you sick of making double cheeseburgers by now? Lincoln Tech, the end of the dead end.
I highly recommend it. You won't find anybody as good as Jam Printing.
Jam is a friendly and professional company that just doesn't do print to make sure that you grow and your business grows to the next level.
They are a very community-focused organization. They donate to every event in the area.
Every time I hand out one of Jam's printed materials, I get a ton of compliments, and that's the power of Jam Printing.
One thing with Jam is it is a veteran-owned company, and that really resonates with me.
Jam Printing is like no other. Their dedication to customer service is amazing.
If you're looking to amp up your marketing, Jam Printing and Promotions is the place to go.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's action here on Maconi Entertainment, the Full-Length Cup Challenge. Coming up to start stage 2 here from Daytona. Just Prince with Kirk Mills with you. Marty Sakawa is our producer tonight. Ralph Hutchinson getting ready to control things from the top, it looks like. Then you have Lucas Hoitzma. Then it's Matt DeCiani, Clayton Hoffman, Chris Hill, Brian Jones, Matt Long, Sean O'Brien, Adam Benefield, Chris Davis are amongst your top 10 for this upcoming restart. Take a look at the rubber cans. They're starting to slim down a little bit as some cars continue to add themselves to the DNF list. Still have more than 30 cars in the race. All set for the restart as they get set up in the gears. Stage 2 is now underway from Daytona. And the RH machine drops on down. The 8 controls things at the bottom so far, Kirk, as they get back in line and look to sort themselves up some new front runners here.
Yeah, let's go ahead and go through these guys right now. Ralph Hutchinson has not been up front that much. We hadn't said his name quite that much, but he's also up here with, on his bumper, Lucas Huitzma, currently giving him a shot. With DeCiani there in third, we've talked about him already a bunch today. Matthew Long right behind them. And now leading that outside line, Clayton Hoffman, we talked about him a little bit, being pushed by Cup Series driver Christopher Hill. He's on the outside, currently pushing Hoffman, trying to get him back up to the front so they may be able to control that outside line and maybe control the race.
We'll see if that ends up happening here. Chris Hill, by the way, has clawed his way through this pack up 38 spots so far tonight. The NASCAR Coco iRacing Series driver coming off the Coke Series race at Daytona this week. And that obviously adds a lot of experience to be able to have that at the pro level when it comes to Chris Hill.
I mean, pro level, those guys are insane. The amount of the amount of talent those guys got is phenomenal, and the fact that he was able to race in that race and then come and race here with us today, to him, remember, if you go back and look at the dual races, he thought he got a little bored. He decided to start swerving in and out of the single file line, but he's not doing that very much today. It seems like he's having a lot more fun today as he is pushing Hoffman in the outside line, trying to get up to the front. It looks like that we already have a pack of, looks like 5 total cars back in the back there, including Bobby Anderson, one of them, who are now running as a 5-car pack in the back, trying to avoid another big wreck. They were mostly involved in that first. I think all of them had something to do in the last 2 big ones. However, I think now that they are deciding to work together and try to avoid the next big one, as the top 4, speaking of 4 or 5 cars, Hutchinson, Huitzma, DeCiani, and Long all pull away to a sizable advantage over the leaders as they complete lap number 70 into lap 71.
Usually those gaps haven't lasted too long. That's the thing, though. Hearing that some people having troubles on the radio communicating some of those damages, like Hudson and a couple others at the moment, it's worth noting once you see those packs zip around at the moment. So it's going to be important to make sure you keep yourself up in a clean car at this point, Kirk. Damage is very, very costly. We've already seen a lot of people lose the draft from it.
Yes. There's a lot of ways you can get damage here, but the number one damage that you don't want is suspension. You don't want to have any toe link breaks. That takes about 8-7 minutes to be able to repair, 6 minutes in some cases. But whenever it comes to some physical, body damage, that's a little bit more, fixable down in the pit lane. They're able to actually get that stuff done. It's possible as long as you don't have any suspension along with it. As it looks like we might have a contender for the 3rd lane. Here comes to the outside. Guess who it is? It is Robert Miller trying to make a move up to the top, and he has no help. I always respect drivers that try to go up to the top and try to make a move. He just needs one helper, and it would work for him. And it looks like we have a few. Delaney's one of them. Here comes Patrick Gitter to the top as well. They're 3 wide. Pretty like 4 or 5 lanes back in the pack.
Not wanting to work with one of the lug nut drivers, Larry McDonald, it looks like. Jonathan Delaney also scraped the wall trying to get around Derek Heitman. Spent the caution getting repairs as well in that pack. So it looks like they want to get that track position back.
They got a long way to go.
Yeah, still a long way to go in the race, a long way to go in the pack to be able to do so.
That outside line has vanished. They have decided collectively that they lost a lot of their help too. The outside line now looks like they're sitting back around where Tanner Marty is, back in the 10th place spot. So the top 10 or so cars are single file. But I think that was all a result of the 3 wide battles that we saw a moment ago. When you get 3 wide like that, the entire pack that you're around loses a ton of momentum. You're going to lose a lot of it due to this thing called side drafting. You put any part of your car on the left rear, the right rear, or the right front, left front of another car, that car turns into an air brake, and it just starts slowing it down because you start redirecting air off your nose and onto their spoiler, slowing the car down. So you don't want that happening to you. And in iRacing, it's over-exaggerated, I think, personally. I think that they do it way too much, but it's in this particular instance, that's why typically it's best to avoid side drafting this early if you want your line to succeed, unless, of course, you're trying to slow down the other line that you're racing against. But leading the pack still is Ralph Hutchinson. He's been really comfortable up front for the first time in a little while. We had a guy who's sitting up here leading a handful of laps and pretty much uncontested so far, as Benefil's having a big run by a push from Hoffman on the outside, exiting too.
Yeah, another run. There goes that top again. Adam Benefield, with NASCAR experience up in the crew side of things, has done very well all throughout this entire night, you could argue, so far in this one. He's been so far keeping himself decently top 10, top 15, now looking to try and solidify himself back up to the lead.
Top three guys, Hill, Hoffman, and Benefield all jumped down to the bottom with Jones, Ryan Jones, to the outside. There's this old song by the Coasters I love where it goes, along came Jones. I love that song, and I think I'm going to use that every time I see him try to come up through the pack, because this guy, Ryan Jones, he's a blast to talk to. I talked to him a few times before this race, and during the duels, and then during the clash, and this guy's just really fun to talk to. I'm excited to see how his season's gonna go, and we're gonna see if he's able to get to the front. He's getting pushed right now by Dustin Hall, who won his heats whenever we were racing in the clash. That beautiful #1 car for Team Conti, Sin Performance, getting pushed now by Miller. Oh goodness gracious! Hang on to it all. Hang on. He's riding a bull right now, trying to avoid crashing. Miller's pushing him so hard, but it's such a great job to see that they're able to hang on to those pushes, especially with how aggressive they're being.
Dustin Hall coming back from the black flag earlier on in the race from the pit stop sequence. Doing a really good...
Sorry, the car just got slammed into the outside wall there. That was a green car. It looks like that was a Heitman. Heitman got slammed into the outside wall on the back straightaway. Pretty hard. I don't know what the damage looks like, but that was pretty bad.
Yeah, not great, to say the very least. He had already spent all that time getting the damage repaired in the first place. And now that's really split things apart in the pack once again here. Heitman getting bounced around in that 76.
Got shoved up out in that line, and now he's probably going to lose the draft at this point if he has any damage from that. But we'll look at that at another time. But up front, these top four guys, yep, they cleared themselves. Top four guys have pulled away, and now Dustin Hall is trying to catch back up to him, being pushed by Miller. It seems like that we are starting to see the outside line completely die. All the outside line is gone. I don't see them coming back. It is single file for the front 25 cars, 26 cars. Pardon me, 21 cars. 21.
Looking at the 8 machine, let's take a look on board here. Right now, still riding along, Ralph Hutchinson is that driver at the moment. This, you see him dialed in and focused up with the triples.
Rocking that stash, by the way. I love the stash. Anytime you got a guy like that wearing a stash, I mean, it looks like he needs to have a donut in hand and a badge on his chest. I mean, he looks like a cop, not gonna lie. And we'll see. It's kind of badass looking. I like it. So we'll see how he's able to do. He led a few laps already today. I mean, who knows? We'll see if he's able to hang on to it. Doing great so far, running top 5 with these guys, and just doesn't want to get shoved out of line. But that outside line that died has been resurrected a little bit. Didn't take 3 days this time, but in this case, it looks like Miller is now leading DeCiani with Patrick Gitter pushing as well on the outside. That's about 5-car pack on the outside line.
Carrying speed of about 200 miles an hour down the straightaway once again. But talking about some of the others that are up here at the moment, Fluger doing a good job. Once again, you see him on the bottom of the racetrack in the 43. He's been, so far, doing a solid job maintaining about the top 10, trying to battle things out. He is one of the privateers. And LouisStickers.com on the car from Arizona.
Doing a great job. I mean, he has only one job here, and that is to win this race. He doesn't have any teammates. He doesn't have to help anybody. He doesn't have to have any friends. He just got to stay in the lead pack, wait for the right moment, and make a move when you can. I mean, look, you don't got many privateers out here, but it looks like that you might have eight total privateers out here trying to drive and trying to win this dang thing. And by privateer, we mean somebody who's not associated with a team. A lot of people, when they first tune into this, might not know what type of racing this is or what's going on. So in this type of sport, you got drivers that race for different teams, similar to how you have a quarterback play for a team and a running back. They're all teammates doing the same job, but it's all underneath the same umbrella. They all work together. This guy, unfortunately, doesn't have anybody working with him. He's by himself, so he's going to try out there and be a one-man show, kind of like Lightning McQueen, if you ever watched the Cars movie. He didn't really have too many teammates up until he started getting nice. But
hold on.
Car down to the bottom. I saw that. Yep, all the way down. They are, they can save it? I think so. I think we're good. 7th car.
Yeah.
Wow, what a save.
Yeah, that kind of caused some scattering of the pack a little bit at the back. That's going to cost some people the draft. Dave Hoytsma and Mesnard amongst those that took a 3 wide at the back of the grouping for a moment. But that all started again from another checkup effect, and that is becoming concerning. Is pushes where someone checks up and they don't know that there's a checkup in front.
A lot of those wrecks from today's Xfinity race and from the ARCA race today, all of those wrecks, in some cases, may have been subject because of that exact problem where somebody in the, you got 3 cars in a line. If that 3rd car comes and pushes the 2nd car all the way up to the front, you got to know where that gap is, because if you hit all 3, then you're going to end up making one squirrely and then causing a wreck, or at least losing momentum. It ain't going to help anybody. It's only going to hurt. So in this case, what I have always told drivers that I work with in the pack is we're coming up on a couple lap cars here. We'll see what the leaders do. We'll go over it here in a second. Nolan Hodgson here and Miller as well. Trying to make sure I get that name right. I've been mispronouncing it. My apologies, Nolan Hodgson. Got it that time. But yep, they are now going to be dropping back, losing a lap there. Not the best of circumstances, but it's what you got to do. And doing this might actually help the outside line, because it looks like that we might have a second line developing from that. We'll see if Miller takes the advantage, and he looks like he might on the outside of Hill.
Yes, indeed. Like to try and get some track position built back up again. How about 3 lines? Oh, that was a big block.
He squeezed him into the wall. Yeah.
Wow. That was kind of Robert Miller saying, yeah, I don't want that line to develop. No, thank you.
Yeah, he just shut him down. He just he's sitting in his lazy boy with his little remote, and he just turned off that line. He just said, nope, not happening. He turned off that TV with that little remote. Oh, I think it's kind of funny thinking about it that way, but yeah, no, it's like I was saying earlier, when you have those 3-car lines, you don't want to push. I always say when you're a driver, you want to make sure that you, give call outs, similar to how an airplane will say 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, and then they land. But I always say 20, 10, 5, back off. And once I say 5, back the heck off, so that way we don't all wreck. That way you work as a team. However, it's not always feasible to do that because there are 40 cars in the field and not everybody's on the same radio channel. And if you are, then people might complain for talking too much. So, you got to be able to be smart about it. Try to have a spotter if you have one, and just note that that's something you got to look out for every time you come to Daytona.
And not too many people have live spotters in the field. There are some. Ryan Struck, for example, with Rory McDonald. Dave Hoytsman, for example, has one up on the box. And Dan Wallen. A couple different people do have live spotters in this field, but it's not a majority that are working with their spotters to be able to coordinate and keep them focused.
Yeah, it would be nice to have a spotter every time for every driver, but you got to remember, not everybody's able to either afford one or have a buddy who's willing to do it. It's kind of a hard job to have, especially around here. You essentially want to hire an auctioneer. That's what you need, an auctioneer, a guy who can talk your head off, and then you'll be able to have all the information you need, especially on these super speedways, whenever they have pack racing. But right now, we're just single file. These guys are saving gas. At first, I thought they were saving the gas, but after looking at the speeds, Christopher Hill just hit 200 miles an hour on the straightaway there. He's like the third car in line there. We're riding on board with him now. You can see him. He's at 195, 6, 7, 8, 9, 200. Holy crap, they jumped to 206 for a second. I think that may have been a visual glitch. But yeah, he's running right around the 200 mark. And yeah, at that point, that means he is not saving. He is actually trying to push. He has a little bit of front end damage, probably from that big wreck, but he's still able to, keep a high speed. And that means that this front pack of about, I believe it is 16 cars, is trying to pull away from everyone else. Ed Ryan leading that second pack. They are going slower down the straightaway. Jonathan Delaney, who is actually a driver we want to pay attention to. Delaney, I think he's trying as well. He's hitting 200 miles an hour on the straights as well. I anticipate that third pack might catch the second one, and if he's able to get to the front of that one, with how much good of a setup he's got underneath him and as good of a driver we got there in the sixth. Let's take a look at the lap times. You can take a look. Yeah, let's take a look. Delaney and Mesnard, they are definitely...
You see right now the gap has closed up for the 5 past laps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that time is closing down a little bit, and once they get within about a second or so, should be a massive boost to be able to potentially propel them to the head of that group. 5 seconds behind the race leaders. They are now in that draft now. Let's go side by side, why don't we, as we continue on with the action. Maconi Entertainment having coverage of the FLCC 500, approaching halfway from Daytona.
I highly recommend it. You won't find anybody as good as Jam Printing.
Jam is a friendly and professional company that just doesn't do print to make sure that you grow and your business grows to the next level.
They are a very community-focused organization. They donate to every event in the area.
Every time I hand out one of Jam's printed materials, I get a ton of compliments, and that's the power of Jam Printing.
One thing with Jam is it is a veteran-owned company, and that really resonates with me.
Jam Printing is like no other. Their dedication to customer service is amazing.
If you're looking to amp up your marketing, Jam Printing and Promotions is the place to go.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Daytona. As we continue on with the action, still a few laps away into the halfway point of the race. Looking at Alex Murray, he's the first driver laps down, 2 laps down, in fact. Corey working with one of his Premier Racing teammates. Right now, that is Ed Ryan, who is holding on to the advantage in the second pack. That third grouping has caught up, by the way. You see them working on the outside line. Derek Heitman and Jonathan Delaney now hooking up to try and see if they can lead this group.
They got a great run on the outside line. They're going to take this lead spot. I think Ryan's going to let them have it too, because they saw how fast that pack was able to catch them, and now they moved up to the top. And right now, Delaney's got to get up to the front. Tanner Marty giving them a giant shove, but the 51's also shoving the 76. So, I mean, or at this point, they need to get single file. They need to start working together, because right now they need to, get in line, try to actually catch this lead pack. They're 11 seconds behind the lead pack right now, last time they crossed the stripe. They have a long way to go. We'll see if they're able to catch back up. But if they keep running double file like this, it might not be anytime soon.
A lot of communication on the radio for them to try and get them lined up and let them try and see if they can close here. They are 10 seconds back of the race leaders. That's a long way to make it, to say at the very least. Here's the group behind second to first. See them closing up a little bit. Davis last time by a lot faster in the main pack, still faster.
Cameron Thompson just went 1 lap down, so now that makes him the current car 1 lap down. The lucky dog possibility of getting the lucky dog right there. That is the car currently in the 13 car there. He is now currently the lucky dog spot if in the event we do end up getting a caution here before we have pit stops.
Speaking of which, we expect that to be pretty soon. Just about in the window for pit stops. So how do you see this breaking down now, knowing the numbers? We've seen Conti come in 5 laps before the others, and then we've seen people stretch to 40. We are getting towards the point. We're about a few laps away from the 40 lap mark for the fuel.
Yeah, I'm going to guess here. I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but from what I've seen so far, my understanding is I think these guys are going to stay out in the front pack. They should stay out a lot longer, because that second pack is not gaining any ground. They're 12 seconds back. They were at 11 a couple laps ago, so they are pulling away. The smart thing for this lead pack to do is to stick together as a group and try to pull away even farther from the second pack of Delaney, so that way they have a lot more work to do. It seems like that they might possibly stay out as long as they physically can, but the problem is when you're leading this pack like Beneful is, it's hard to save gas and be fast at the same time. And it doesn't really work, but they're going 200 miles an hour at the front of the pack. I don't see any fuel saving whatsoever.
Yeah, they've been just driving it out, letting it ride. They are now having to run the middle top line because of the lap traffic. Jordan Person, Stephen Williams, John Williams are now losing a lap here. Not easily, at least, but that outside line still carrying a lot more momentum to be able to lap those 3.
Those 3 cars now are going to be the battle for the free pass here. Those 3 are going to be the first cars 1 lap down, and they'll be racing each other pretty hard as we're on board with Hoffman now as they head to exit 2. Crazy race so far. Seems like a lot of single file now in the second. I'm glad to see that this second little stage has calmed down quite a bit compared to what we saw earlier. But that lead pack, you see them all diving down. That leaves Dustin Hall in the 1 car out to dry to the outside. He doesn't have enough room to get down. Oh, a little bit of contact almost spun him out into the wall, but he hanged on to it. 43 cars pushing him. That's Victor Pfluger. We were talking about him. He's on board now with them now.
Yeah, trying to get down, couldn't get down. Got squeezed out a little bit, actually.
Got down that time.
Yeah. Berkeley can't find a way to lap cars. On the bright side, for those that just got lapped, should maintain the lead pack. This grouping they're passing now of Dodson, not going to be as easy as well as Cameron Thompson, who loses second lap. 3 wide.
Daytona is known for once you get the big one, you're going to have a lot of these moments where the pack is going to have to break up for a moment just to be able to get by these lap cars. And some of these lap cars are going to be desperate. The next group that I think they're going to catch currently is about 24 seconds behind them. So we won't see them for a few laps. That's Cameron Sohn, Paul Hill, and Dave Hoedsma. But you can see where they are. They're currently heading down a backstretch, heading into turn number 1, I believe. Actually, they're coming across the start-finish line now. That's Dave Hoedsma in the 09. So about half a track. So it's going to be a few laps before we even see them next to each other. But whenever they do end up catching them, one thing that you got to be in mind of is this bottom line is going to morph. They're going to change. But sometimes that lapper is going to be like, I don't want to go a lap down. So they're going to try and block the leader in some cases. You see that in some leagues. Some very, very... how do we say, people who are desperate are trying to block, and that way they can stay on the lead lap and they don't have to worry about losing a lap. But right now, Beneful, Hoffman, those guys, they don't want to give up where they are. They like leading this line. They're controlling this whole race, and they're not going to give it up easy. So even if someone does block, I guarantee you they won't stay behind him for long.
Just past halfway, approaching pit stops. Here's the pit stop graphic from the last time they made stops. Already coming up to 37 laps into the stint for these drivers, including the last caution period. So no one electing to duck down quite yet, with the lead group now shrinking to just 16 cars. 12 seconds to buffer for the 16 drivers at the moment. Yeah. Right now, seeing some of the other drivers try and sort themselves out. It's cut in half, I should say. DeCiani just lost the draft with Patrick Gitter.
Not the best of decisions, unfortunately, for them. Looks like now that means that this front pack goes all the way back to John Williams, who is a lap down, but in front of them is 8th place. So it looks like only the top 8 are together in this lead pack, with the next car being DeCiani, currently running in 9th, and that's the leader of that second pack. No one pits this time either. I don't anticipate this happening for another couple laps, maybe 2 or 3, maybe even 5 at the max. But it could be, they could go longer. It just depends on if they're actually saving or, I mean, it looks like they're not. They're hitting 200, which normally means that they're pushing. So, I mean, we'll see. Especially if you're in the middle of those lines, you're saving a whole lot more gas than you could ever need. But the lead cars, they'll be the ones to come down first.
On board with the 96, Chris Hill. Oh, he had to shift that time. Had to play around with the gears a little bit.
Not sure why they had to do that. A little odd, considering that, you know, normally you don't want to get out of 5th and go to 4th unless you're by yourself in a single file line, unless, of course, they set up the car to be a little more high, a little faster on the high end. So, I mean, it's an interesting strategy, I think. They must have done something really smart with the gearing to be able to make it so you could shift and still catch back up in a draft. That's pretty smart. I like that.
Yeah, going with the triple car tandem to keep the momentum high in this group. See if anyone ducks down soon. Starting to see some calls on the radio start to pop up a little bit. And no answer, no response, I should say. The second pack, or rather the third, fourth packs are starting to have people indicate pit stops. Tanner Marty, Tyler Hunter in the 20s just indicated they will start the pit window this time. So there are pit stops in the 20s at the moment. The leaders should come in soon.
Yeah, Hodgson's one of them, McDonald, Marty, Hunter, Mesnard, and Princeton. Those are all the drivers that currently are on pit road right now.
Well, Larry McDonald had some contact with Marty for that pit entry. That sent him a little bit into the wall. Will cost him some time after going off the nose of 29.
Hoffman's coming in. Leaders all coming in.
Here we go. The whole lead group coming in full wave style. DeCiani sent it in aggressive to catch up to this pack.
Oh. O'Brien's around on the entrance of pit road. He got it back going, but he was sitting sideways for a split seconds there. Sean O'Brien Jr. in the Celtics car. Oh, I think that's a Celtics. I have to look at that a little closer here in a moment.
That's the CC O'Brien.
Oh.
And
My
here's
apologies.
where
It looks. Go ahead.
I was about to say, here's where it's going to get complicated. A couple drivers have to share pit boxes for these stops. Going to be difficult to line up perfectly. Pfluger, the first one out in this pit stop wave over Andrew Dyson and Adam Benefiel.
Since everybody came in, I don't think that there's a pack out there that. Oh wow! I mean, watching these guys coming off pit road, I mean, it looks like they're drifting their cars. Benefiel's one of them. Hall, Hill, they're all driving pretty dang harshly, getting out of there. Somehow not spinning the car out. As it looks like we have a couple cars trying to do the snake down a backstretch. Looking at the 43 right now, we had a replay here. Let's see what's going on. 65. We're taking a look at this again. Here we go. Coming off. This is what we were talking about where he got sideways here. Coming onto the pit lane. He tried to avoid hitting other cars. Came down. Slammed on the brakes. Slid. Did he hit anyone? Nope. Just clipped a driver there. But minimal damage. Not something I'd worried about at all. It just means that you're going to be in a different pack. You're most certainly not going to be in the lead pack. It looks like he's running with Hutzma and that's the only car near him right now as they head down the back straightaway, doing some snaking, trying to get comfortable. Oh, little door slam there with the 44, Billy Brickley. That's Gitter and Brickley.
A little bit of a decision there. That's not what you expect in the main pack, but now as these drivers get sorted out, now it's simply that run to the end of the stage. DeCiani, Patrick Gitter, zip by Pfluger, no problem. Now here's the thing, the top three are trying to check out. Benefiel, Hall, Hill have a huge buffer over the rest of the field right now.
You can see that giant gap in the back bumper of Hill. Looks like those three guys have just decided to cruise on away. They're fine. They don't need nobody. They are fine and well. So, I mean, they just got to work together. Three-car tandem here. A little contact sends Hall up the hill a little bit. It seems like he hangs on to it. But the second pack, I think is going to catch him. I mean, at this point, three cars. I don't believe in the whole mentality that three cars can pull away from the whole pack. I don't see it. As we can look at it now, you can look at the gap between DeCiani and Hill. It is, looks like it might be staying the same. They're losing time to the leaders. Wow. So at that point, they're going to have to start figuring out how they can catch back up. I bet when they cross the stripe this time, it will be in the green, though, because I'm looking at the mile per hours, and they are going faster.
Second pack is faster at the moment.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, yes. It's hard for me to be able to read that exactly. There we go. So second pack is going to catch them in about a lap or so, I believe. But when they get there, are they going to just tuck in behind the three, or are they going to make a move? What do you think there, Justin?
I think it depends. The momentum might just have them say, well, let's go to the point. We've seen the Fortis machines want to control the lead pack all throughout this one. Now they're closing on up.
All right, let's see it. Here we go. Watching now. Let's see. I don't know if they're going to be able to make the move or not, but it's coming. Here they go. Again, let's talk about who these guys are. DeCiani, Gitter, Miller, Hoffman, Hutchinson, Pfluger, and Long. That's the long line of cars that are there right now. We'll see what they're able to do as they catch back up, and they're going to get there. They're going to have a big old run, too, because it's shortened quite a bit now as they cross the line.
Yeah, it's down to under half a second. As here we go.
Does, but no. Wow, Miller left those two helping out to dry. That is not going to be good for those two unless they can work together and somehow make a push. Here comes another car trying to make a peek to the outside. He decides better of it. Peeks right back down to the bottom. Now DeCiani and Gitter might be going to the back.
Not enough momentum, but just the two of them. They've got good speed under the hood. Give them credit that way. But it's hard to get that outside going unless you have the numbers here today. They are trying to side draft, but that inside line's just got so much more numbers.
It does. It's going to be hard to catch back up after that, but if anybody who's in the back of that pack wants to get some points, like maybe a Law, maybe a Fluker wants to hop up, that outside line could get it moving. I don't think they might. I don't think they will anytime soon, but we're coming up on a lapper here. I believe that is Steven Williams there on the bottom. They're going to be 3 wide for a minute here as they head down into turn number 3 again. That won't be too big of a problem. One thing right now that we got to think about right now, drivers will not have to come down to get gas again until the stage, so don't worry about them saving any gas. They'll be fine. They can go and get some stage points to try to race for it now, but it looks like only about 10 cars are in the they're all going to get stage points as long as we don't get a caution. All 10 of them are in points paying positions, but now it's about who's going to get the playoff point. Beneful, Hall, Hill, Miller, DeCiani, Hoffman. It could be any of them. It could be anyone in this top 10.
And you never know, those championship points could be very valuable later on in the season. See what they have in store here for the final 16 laps coming up at the stage, to say the very least. Some of the other drivers in this group right the way. Doing a good job in this race has been Matthew Lawn from Dirty South. Started this race in 33rd. He's right now in the top 10. Your thoughts on Matthew Lawn's race, as we've seen him really make himself known a bit in this lead pack since some of the cautions built up earlier?
Yeah, I mean, what I got to say right off the bat is great job getting, not letting the big ones stop you from getting through this field. Starting in 33rd and still being able to get up to 10th this early in the race. I mean, it's Daytona. It's easy to get from the front to the back. It's easier said than done to get from the front to the back. It's a lot easier to get from the front to the back than from the back to the front. And he's showing that he has the talent to get from the back to the front. Not just him, though. We also have Christopher Hill. He started 44th out of 45 cars, and he's running in 3rd. So it doesn't really matter where you start necessarily at Daytona and Talladega. It definitely helps if you start up front. For example, the pole center, Adam Benefield's leading this thing still. He hasn't left the front. But in this case, there's a tremendous amount of, it's similar to how in America you can start off with a little amount of money and then work really hard and get a lot amount of money. You can move up and down the ladder throughout your life. Same thing in this race. You can move up and down the running order throughout the race. It's the same concept because it's easy to do that. And if you really want to go to the back, you can. If you can go to the front, you just got to be determined, have a friend, and work together. And that's how you do it in the world at this time as well. So, I mean, these guys got to be thinking 15 laps to go before the end of the stage. How the heck am I going to be able to win this thing? I got to get myself in a position to do so.
Right now, the Conti cars are controlling things still. Benefield has staying synced up. We'll take a side-by-side. More coverage coming up. The run up to the end of the stage. Closing in. Stage 2 continues here from Daytona.
X terms are equal. The graphs of the two lines will be parallel.
You ready to get out of here? Let's go. Come on. Lincoln Tech, the school for people who hate school.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Welcome back, everyone, to Daytona. Less than 10 laps to go in stage 2. As the laps continue to dwindle on down in this one. Benefield, Hall, Hill, Miller, Hoffman, still your top 5 here on Maconi Entertainment. And someone eventually will have to make the move here, Kirk. The question is when.
Probably here in about 9 or 10 laps. I'd say so, right on the last lap. That's when the tendency is to make a move. Unless you're, of course, in the back 10 right here, Long, Pfluger, Gitter, they might pull out a line a little early, especially Gitter. I really think that DeCiani and Gitter might work together. I anticipate them working and pulling out a line, and most likely Pfluger and Long might go with them. We'll see what they choose to do, but what I've noticed over the last few laps is that 83 of Beneful has been taking a higher line as they head through the corners, and I think that might be to let the number 1 of Hall get some air to that machine, so that way it could be cool to push them through the straights. And watch him, there he goes. He goes up high, gives him just about a half a lane for the 1 to be able to cool his radiator, so he can give him a giant shove off the exit of the corners.
Just keeping the momentum going. That's the main thing, right? And that takes coordination, but also takes a lot of skill to know when to push, how to push, line up the bumper, be able to do it just right, so you don't lose momentum as a pack. Otherwise, frustrations can definitely grow.
Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
You go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was going to tell you that another thing that they got to have is experience, because this is not something that you just do from, like, reading a book. This is something you got to practice. You go out there, you race, you do this a ton of times, and you finally learn that, like, oh, I got to let the guy behind me breathe so he can push the heck out of me. And that's what he's trying to do. So you not only do you have to make smart decisions, you got to be able, oh, looks like we have one car pulling down into the pit lane.
Luger having a pit? That's an interesting situation. He's only 17 laps into the run. Why does he have to pit all of a sudden?
I think it's strategy. I think it's strategy, 100%. I mean, there's no way that he would need to pit right now. And he's giving up. He's giving up points right now. He could. This was confirmed, definite. You're gonna get him points, but he pit instead. And so I mean, I think he's trying to have a better position for the final leg of this race to try and win this thing.
An interesting call. Can't confirm he took 4 tires and fuel. Might have cost himself the time with 4 tires, but right now Benefield leads with 6 laps to go. That means the first driver in Pack 2 will also potentially be in line points. That's Chris Davis at the moment. Right now, the shade is starting to come out. The in-sim time is already 4:30. We haven't talked about the track conditions really tonight. 78 degrees air temperature, 84 track temp currently. Those temperatures only are going to go down from here.
And when you have lower temperatures, that typically means more grip. That means it's not going to be as slick. You're not going to have to worry about that. I always say the hotter it is, the more the car feels like you're driving on a pancake with a whole lot of syrup on it. You don't got that much grip. You're slipping and you're sliding, and it doesn't really feel sticky until it gets a little later. Once the syrup starts to set, then you start getting some sticky. Once the temperature goes down, then it gets some stiff. So we'll see what they end up doing. But we're coming down to, I believe, 6 to go in stage 2, 5 to go in stage 2, and still top 3 the same. Top 9 remain unchanged with the exception of the driver who came down and got fuel and tires.
Here we go.
Oh, not for long. Here we go. Outside the 8 car and the 4. They make a move to the top with Gitter. They are gonna start working together right now.
Ralph Hutchinson, let's see what he can do now. He's got a lot of pushes from DeCiani. See him trying to be careful with the steering wheel. Now the whole top lines come up to block. They have lapped Fluger, so that's not going to work for his strategy per se. Now the battle up front. The Conti cars are on the bottom. Everybody else up top. Now two of the Altus team members working together. Big block coming up from the top from Benefield.
And that was a great block. But the thing is, the only reason I believe they went up was to try and make sure that lap car, into the wall goes. It looks like, golly, it may have been Long. Matthew Long into the wall. He has right side damage. He is losing ground, and he drops back. But it looks like that the leaders now is Hill, followed by Miller and Beneful. So now Chris Hill is leading this thing with just a few laps to go in stage 2.
This lead pack's all sorts of splintered apart as well from the contacts. Now we'll see who's able to get some giddy up and go. Coming to 2 laps to go on the stage. More lap traffic. Carl Dodson up the road. See if anybody likes to take the split here. They just stay in the line. It looks like they'll just stay in a line and work together here. Coming up to the 2 to go signal.
2 to go, and I don't believe they're going to catch any more lap cars. This is it. We'll see what they're able to do. You got Hill, you got Miller, and that's Robert Miller, Adam Beneful, Ralph Hutchinson, Matt DeCiani, Patrick Gitter, Dustin Hall, Clayton Hoffman are in that front pack, and all of them have a chance to win this stage. They're still single file. I don't see any moves happening, most likely until maybe a lap to go. We're on 2 to go right now, heading down the backstretch. We'll see if anyone wants to make a move. Will it be Hoffman back there, maybe Gitter? Let's see, anybody want to make a move? I don't see it happening. Oh, nope. As they head down into the 3, they stay single file.
Coming up to the 1 to go in the stage. This time by pit roads already closed. Who will try and get themselves a playoff point? Who will just elect to just ride? They have lost a couple more cars, including Fluger, but it's still 8 cars with a chance to battle for the top spot of the stage. Benefield backing it up to build up a run. All while Hill works with Miller up front.
Yeah, Miller's just shoving the heck out of Hill right now. I don't think he's going to let off here. Beneful's going to have a big old run. You can see him. He's right on that rear bumper. He's banging on him. He's getting him a little loose. Now the outside line's coming. Beneful might not have time to get up in front. That's Hutchinson. Nope, Beneful got enough time. He's up to the outside of Miller. He used a little side draft. Here comes Hill to the outside contact. They send him up the hill. They are 3 wide for second place. Here comes the push to the 1 to the back of the 15, but it looks like Hill's got this heading out of the corner to the wall. Hutchinson makes a move to the bottom. Want to move? They're 3 wide, and at the line, it's going to be Ralph Hutchinson taking the stage. What a move. Great job not crashing. What a way to end that stage. That was awesome.
So it's Ralph Hutchinson who takes the stage. Hill, Miller, DeCiani, Gitter, Hall, Hoffman, Benefield, Lawn, and Lucas Hoitzma. Top 10. Ralph Hutchinson gets the chance to celebrate here. Stage victory. Under caution, once again, here from Daytona. More coming up after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to today's coverage of the FLCC 500. Already about the 2-hour mark for the racing action here on Maconi Entertainment. It's been an interesting night so far. Ralph Hutchinson coming with the stage victory, that time over Miller and Hill for the top three. Justin Prince alongside Kirk Mills, Marty Sakawa, our producers. It's time for more pit stops. 70 to go, less than that mark, in fact, now in the race to see who comes away with the victory.
Full 4 set of tires and gas. I think that's going to be the same for most drivers here right now. That's probably going to be the best bet to get some 4 tires and gas. A lot of cars that did not that pitted right before the end of that stage most likely are going to stay out and take the wave around. One of those drivers that comes to mind was Pfluger, Victor Pfluger. I think he might be doing that, but they come out of the pit lane. It looks like Hutchinson and Miller side by side, but Hill edges them off and ends up taking the lead out of the pit lane.
Hill had a quicker pit stop than most by about 1.4 seconds. Great pit stop sequence for the 96 in the pit lane, to say the least, for him to get him up to the front for track position. Of course, track position can be very valuable, but also now it's going to be important for the 21 clean cars left in this race to plot and plan successfully here, Kirk. When they get back going here after this restart, it's going to get interesting to see how the strategies now go, especially knowing you have an extra couple laps in the stage, but also you have the race for the win to think about.
Yep, the stage racing's over. It's gone. But guess what? This race now is just a short little race here is all we got. We just got a handful of laps to do this. We're lap 133. We're going to get to lap 200, so it's less than a 100-lap dash here. And all these guys are going to do is I think that they're going to have to pit twice under this last little run here to get to the end. I don't anticipate anyone trying to make it on a single stop. I don't see that working whatsoever. So at this point, 2 stops is very, very what I expect these guys to do. And now, when is the question? Because they can do it early, they can do it late. It just depends on when they can. They're going to have to play the strategy out. John Williams is going to be coming down pit lane, so he's not going to be taking the wave around. He will stay 1 lap down, most likely to get some damage repaired still, get some gas, and hope for a caution. But the cars that were in the back, the cars that were lost to the lead pack, drivers like maybe Tanner Marty, maybe like Devin Medeiros, drivers like them are going to now know, hey, I cannot lose this lead pack or my day is done. You need to stay in this lead pack. And anything can happen. I mean, look at that 48 we're looking at right now, the 48 car, that's Tyler Hunter. He spun out. He was the first caution of the day down the back straightaway. But look at him now. He's gone all the way from the back after spinning out to now running, it looks like, in 14th, starting up on the outside behind the 11 car of Ryan Jones. So we'll see what he's able to do, if he's able to capitalize on this comeback and possibly win the FLCC 500. He's got a lot of work to do in order to get to the front.
Let's take a look at some onboards. Ralph Hutchinson, we've seen him. He's going to be starting on the inside here with Hill. I can go to the outside. Bobby Anderson, he's currently out of the race at the moment. Just watching along with the action. Some of the other drivers, you see some of their setups here as they get ready for the restart. Carl Dodson, multiple laps down, still chugging along. He's still running in 36th. Nolan, meanwhile, is right now still trying to keep his car going in the 30s. Dyson, you see him running in 33rd. Different perspectives as we get set for the restart. Interesting that Hill electing to take this top line once again here, Kirk.
Yeah, it's smart. I mean, at this point, I think Hutchinson and Hill, I don't think Hutchinson's made any deal with Hill necessarily, but being on the outside's probably going to be best for Hill. You got Hoffman back there, great pusher. Miller's been a little aggressive on his pushes, so I don't know if I want to start in front of him, but we're coming to the green. This is it, guys. Let's see who's going to be the one to win this race. Here we go. Back under green in Daytona for the FLCC 500. Let's see who's got it.
Back underway. Now the top three all migrate to the bottom. Top line does not have the numbers. Expect these drivers to try and ride the bottom. Plot and plan things for the big picture potentially. But it's Kaufman who's the pusher, interesting enough. He's able to get them through the gears on the back end of Hill.
Single file for the front guys. They all planned that really well. I thought they weren't going to plan something, but I think that was planned, especially considering the top three all got down to the bottom. They're doing their best to control this race. You can see that outside line now is only just 6 cars, and they're back here battling for it looks like for the 13th spot, 12th spot in that line. I don't think they're going to have much help. They just lost another one that makes 5. So they got to remember, they got to try and keep this lead pack. They're starting to lose a little bit of ground. Devin Medeiros is currently the last car, barely hanging on to the lead pack of Chris Davis there. He's going to have to try and catch back up. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it there in time. But it's single file up, not for long, to the outside. Patrick Gitter makes a move for the lead with Hutchinson and Hutzma going to the outside. That's going to help that second pack to stay with these leaders. If they would have stayed single file, they might have ran away with this. But no, they decided they want to race, and I get it. That's what we like to do as racing drivers. We're coming to the line. Patrick Gitter is going to lead that lap.
Gitter from Charlotte, North Carolina, back to the point with the help of Hutchinson. Taking a look at Ralph again, the Colorado-based driver, the Stint Analyzer car. Just keeping the bumper sealed to the back end of the 21 for the time being. Just looking to keep this pack going fast.
You know, the only thing that I think Hutchinson needs to go along with that cool, like, you know, stash, maybe grow a mullet too. I think that'd be pretty good. I think that'd be cool to see a race car driver with a mullet and a stash. That's pretty good. Oh, they're wrecking in the back. That's a terrible time to say that, but they're wrecking in turns 4, and it looks like that will bring out a caution. I think it may have been Nolan Hodgson. We'll have to see what happened there. That was wild.
John Williams was actually the driver sideways in the 05 machine. Mesnar, Jeremy Miller were also collected in that incident. We're under caution once again here from Daytona.
Yep, so at this point, yeah, it looks like 100% that was Williams, John Williams. He's got right front damage. Let's take a look at it here. Coming through the corner, they're 3 wide. Brickley got into the back of the 30, caused contact, and unfortunately, it just looks like that John Williams was an unfortunate bystander there. Right front damage, suspension damage. He's going to have a lot of time to go down and fix that. Let's ride on board with him. He rides the top, and there's nothing he could do. There's nothing at all he could have done to avoid that.
Good job to avoid significant damage, though, you have to say for John. He's still a lap down. We'll see.
Especially after that incident, he will not get the free pass because he had an incident from that. So we'll have to see who's actually going to get the free pass. I think it could be Jordan Person.
Did hear on the radio that they have warned the field to tighten it up on this upcoming restart. There are too many gaps, they said, in the pack. So they are telling the drivers to get sorted. Oh, we have some pit stops. A few people electing to top off to try and stretch out their fuel windows.
It's a one-stop race. They could stretch it. They could stretch it from here. So in this case, it's going to be hard, but it makes it a one-stop race, and they can. Everybody else who didn't pit this time will have to pit again twice, I believe, to be able to get to the end. But these guys should only need to pit one more time.
Top 11 stayed out on the racetrack, interestingly enough, from this pit stop sequence. So a few drivers feel like they don't need to top off. Let's take a break. We come back. More action coming up. 61 to go at the stripe.
I highly recommend it. You won't find anybody as good as Jam Printing.
Jam is a friendly and professional company that just doesn't do print to make sure that you grow and your business grows to the next level.
They are a very community-focused organization. They donate to every event in the area.
Every time I hand out one of Jam's printed materials, I get a ton of compliments, and that's the power of Jam Printing.
One thing with Jam is it is a veteran-owned company, and that really resonates with me.
Jam Printing is like no other. Their dedication to customer service is amazing.
If you're looking to amp up your marketing, Jam Printing and Promotions is the place to go.
Welcome back. The next race for the FLCC is next weekend. It will be Atlanta. That will be the next full-length Cup Challenge event. That starts 8:30 p.m. You can find that on February 22nd. Once again, be sure to tune in on Maconi Entertainment throughout the entire season for the FLCC. That should be an interesting time, to say the very least, here as we get set for the restart. Justin Prince, Kirk Mills with you. Marty Sakawa, our producer tonight. Getting all set for a restart. And the top 11 stayed out. Remember, it is a one-stop regardless here for these drivers, but several electing to stretch out their fuel windows here with topping off instead.
Yeah, top 11 ended up staying out here, and those guys are going to have to save a little bit to make it a one-stop, but I think they're going to be able to do it, especially considering who stayed out. We have Beneful, Hill, these guys, they all stayed out. Hoffman, they're making the choice here. Tanner Marty's a part of it. They're all going to be trying their best to be able to save enough gas, and I think if they believe in themselves, we should too. So we'll see what they're able to do, and we're coming out of turn 4 to get the green with about, looks like 60 laps to go in the race. Going to get 59, I believe.
Getting all set to go. Chris Hill again shows the top line. He's been preferring the top of the racetrack. Field being told to tighten up for the restart. Back underway. Still 60 laps to go from Daytona.
Hill clears his way down to the bottom. Maybe not. He's trying to go back up the block. Beneful, he didn't want to have that side draft, so he went up and made sure that he shoved some air on his nose. So that way, he had no way of side drafting Hill, slowing both lanes down. So he ends up finding a spot. Beneful going 4th in line on the bottom. They are now double file all the way through this field. Outside line is being led by Paul Hill, so it looks like Hills are taking over both the bottom and the top. Paul Hill on the top and Christopher Hill on the bottom.
We haven't mentioned Paul Hill's name really all race, by the way. It's first time up towards the front for him. And when it comes to Paul Hill, for 1110 Esports, driving the Dent Slayer machine, that Jacksonville, Florida-based driver now finding his time to strike at the right time.
Well, I don't think he's striking quite yet. He's in a great position where he's going to be able to possibly get a good spot to prepare to go down into the pit lane. He's got a big run. Here he comes. They're even now. Both hills lead both lines. If he's smart, he's got to get down to the bottom. It's all about leading these lines and being able to have a great pit road entry. The higher up in the running order you are, the better chance you have whenever you have to come down pit road of, you know, leaving with the pack. You don't have a higher chance of having to wait on other cars to slow down in front of you. So he's got DeCiani pushing him with Gitter on the outside. And considering these two guys have been up front most of the race, DeCiani and Gitter, we've talked about them throughout the entirety of the broadcast. Hill, on the other hand, has not. So he's up here now. He's battling for the lead side by side. And I don't see anybody trying to make a third lane work whatsoever. However, I mean, at this point, if you're in the back of the pack, maybe as a way you could try and push these front guys to try and use more gas, you make a third lane. See what happens. Hill's going to drop down to the bottom here as DeCiani to the outside. They are even entering 3.
Yeah, DeCiani doing a good job to make his way up to the front again. Had some damage repair the last time he had to come down to pit road. It's Paul Hill who leads this time, though, with the help of Chris Hill. So, now we'll have to see that calm before the storm. Patrick Gitter, by the way, is the highest running of those who topped off. Most of those drivers who topped off have not made their way up to the front, except for Gitter to join his teammate.
Gitter drops down with DeCiani to the bottom. Now that leaves McDonald. Larry McDonald out to dry. He's going to have to get a shot from behind. That is Hutchinson trying to push him. The madman with the stash. I like that. He's trying to give McDonald a shove, and Delaney is working with Hutchinson, trying to get them up to the front. A little bit of contact almost sends Delaney to the back of Hutchinson. They hang on to it as DeCiani now takes the lead and leads that lap. Man, look at that stash, man. That's pretty dang cool looking. He's rocking it. We'll see if he's able to actually see if that adds an extra horsepower or two. I think.
You know,
I'm gonna keep mentioning that. I like it.
You know who's in the top 10 now? Thomas Komacheski. He has been, for most of this race, in the 40s. Finally getting in position to maybe pounce here. He just got in the top 10 for a split second. He has been in the back all night.
I mean, he was a lap down at this point, I believe. But he's came back. He fixed his damage from the crashes. And he's back as it looks like. Oh, man, we just got McDonald split in the middle. He's going back through the sucker hole, as I like to call it. Sorry, McDonald, you're going to the back, is what everybody says. But, right, yeah, about Kulmacheski. Great job by that 88 car. I was complimenting his paint scheme a few weeks ago whenever he ran that in the Clash. That's the 88 looking car from, it looks like the 88 car from Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s Amp Energy days. But he's cleverly made it his own, and I think it's a great looking race car. And doing a great job bringing it up to the front. He started 31st. He had to be in the back of the field most of the race. But he's made his way back up, and he's in the top 15. Give him some props. Great job.
Doing a really good job to be able to get himself back in the conversation. That's a little bit of a close call for Hoffman. That's even more worse. Miller is again in the grass. This time he crashes.
The whole field. Oh, no. A lot of cars involved.
Caution flag is out. Madero's and more involved in the crash. Thompson stopped on the track. Lucas Hoitzma having heavy front nose damage. And we're back under yellow, coming up 53 laps to go.
It happened again. I think it was the same one, too. So he tried to go up the block Hutchinson. He got a little loose. He didn't have enough time to do it. Let's take a look at this. Here we go. Off turn 4. I don't think this might not be the right lap quite. I think it's the next lap is what we're looking for here. Here we go. Here. Hang on just one moment. We're trying to pull up the right lap here. Just give us one moment. But yeah, it looked like that whenever he was there, he pulled up trying to follow Hoffman, who was trying to go to the top lane. But Hutchinson had already had enough closing rate, and Miller just didn't have enough room to do it. He goes through the grass after contact. He did this early in the race. He was able to save it, but this time he did not, and he collected multiple cars. You can see some visual glitches, but that will be posted in full in post-race. took out a handful of cars. I don't believe too many are in terminal, but they are definitely damaged. So we'll have to see what they're able to do to get those cars fixed to get back onto the racetrack and have a chance at this again.
So back in the yellow as the field gets regrouped here. The restart should come with about 50 or so laps to go. Still outside that fuel window. Do you top off or do you just maintain track position knowing you're still outside the fuel window?
Oh gosh, yeah. If you are running like in the back, like maybe a Cameron Stone, a Dave Hoetzma, or even those that just wreck like Devin Medeiros, those guys could work together. And not saying it would work, but I've seen crazier things happen. Maybe they could come down, get some gas, and ride at a slow pace, and they might. I've seen it happen once. I saw a guy in a Daytona 500 fixed race go 55 on a fuel tank, but he had a whole group helping him. So it was more of a science experiment than anything put into practice, but it's possible, barely. So I don't know if it's worth doing, but Gitter gets out first out of the pit lane, followed by the 4. So, I mean, I don't know if anyone's going to be willing to do that. If you're on the front, definitely don't. But if you're in the back and you have nothing else to lose, like I said, what do you have to lose? See how much fuel you can save. See if you can stun everyone like Joey Logano did a handful of months ago whenever he saved so much gas in that Nashville race.
Let's take a break. Coming up to 51 laps to go. We're under caution from Daytona.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Aren't you sick of making double cheeseburgers by now? Lincoln Tech, the end of the dead end.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Welcome back to Daytona. A black flag for Derek Heitman. Too many boxes on his pit exit. Has now seen him have to go to the very back of the field here. That's going to be very costly, as we've seen everybody did top off and about 17th on back took tires here. It's going to get interesting on the pit strategy here with 50 laps to go. Fuel estimates are still outside the window by 8 laps or so at the moment.
We'll see what they can do. I mean, it could be a blessing in disguise for Heitman, because at this point, he's got to go to the back. And all these guys up front, they're going to be racing pretty dang hard. Being in the back gives you a chance to be able to see these accidents happen pretty quickly and have a chance to actually slow down to miss them. So in the event that these guys do have any unforeseen accidents or anything that we hope doesn't happen, but anything like that does happen, he has some time to slow down to be able to miss it, or it's going to be able to make a heck of a show to go from the back to the front. And so we've seen pretty good racing so far, but I anticipate the best racing is still yet to come.
Getting all set to go. Teammates from Fortis in control. Green flag is out. Gitter's off and away, choosing the outside. We're back on our way from Daytona. And already, huge momentum from the inside line. Yet again, Delaney losing ground quickly.
Outside line has not been good all race long. Very rarely, unless of course I believe that they work together, that outside line does not seem to want to stick out very well. Gitter, DeCiani, Hill, and Beneful as your top four. Again, these guys have been dominating this race, being up front most of the day. It's honestly surprising because, you know, most of the time when you go to these races, it's a lot of luck. We're on board now looking back at DeCiani from the back of Gitter, the leader of the race right now. But you can see he's given a huge shot dancing with a wheel. But it's very difficult to be able to lead a race at Daytona and Talladega and do it consistently. However, these guys have been up front. They've made it from the back to the front. They've done whatever it takes to be able to get where they are, and they've stayed where they are since then. So now we're going to have to see if they're able to race amongst themselves for a win, or will someone else come out of nowhere and try to take the lead spots away. Right now, the outside line is nowhere to be seen whatsoever. The only car on the outside there, again, is Cool Macheski being pushed by Brickley on the outside there. You can see them trying to clear the 51, which it won't work. At this time, I think they might be going back, and they're losing the lead draft. They're already gone. They need to start getting single file and try to catch this lead pack.
And they've absolutely lost it at this point. Already lost it by more than 2 seconds, in fact, as a result. So we'll have to see if they're going to be able to get some luck to close up here, as the top 10 have pulled off and away. You know who's 10th right now? Sean O'Brien Jr., who put in a lot of work in terms of the media guides for this event for this week to make sure everything was buttoned up and ready to go for tonight.
Yeah, thanks so much to him for giving us all this information. He made sure that all these drivers were well represented, and you know, it's something that we very much appreciate up here in the booth, to be able to have that as a resource, to be able to know more about these drivers. And throughout the season, we're going to be working with them for the next year, and we're going to try and get to know each one of them and maybe have a few storylines throughout the year. But in the meantime, we're definitely going to be able to remember that one, thanks to Mr. O'Brien Jr.
Yes, indeed. Still maintaining some good momentum. Look at the numbers that built up in the other pack, though. That other grouping of cars not running as fast as they need to, though, even with the numbers. Matthew Long trying to push Ed Ryan to close up.
Yeah, I think a few weeks ago I think Ed Ryan may have been the guy who was sitting up there in the catch fence a few weeks ago. So he definitely recovered from that and doing quite well. We'll see if he's able to catch back up. They are faster by about a tenth. It looks like a 0.189. It looks like they are that much faster. So we'll see what they're able to do. They might catch them in a few laps here, and once they do, that outside line might be resurrected. We'll see.
If it starts getting side by side up front, it definitely will at this point. But remember, the drivers that lead these packs are burning more fuel in theory, Kirk, compared to those in the draft. Riding along in this pack, even with the speed differential, going to be a lot more beneficial compared to those that are just leading the laps and burning the fuel.
Yeah, a lot more beneficial. However, if these lead guys are smart, I mean, they got to be able to see that second pack is going to probably catch up to them. The current gap is about 3.2 seconds, and that was last time by. We're going to check that here in a second whenever they come back across the line to see how much exactly they're gaining. But if they're able to catch back up to this lead draft, then great. But these lead cars, I see Patrick Gitter hit 203 miles an hour going into that corner. That's the fastest I've seen a car go all race. So I don't think they're saving gas at all. They are pushing hard, and they're just trying to make sure they can get away from that second pack. As they cross the stripe, it goes from 3.221 to 4.1. They are losing ground. That was almost a full second they lost the pack.
A Lots of time being lost by that second group. This first pack is chugging along down the straightaways. How much they've been able to work together and coordinate with each other. But that's sometimes how it works. The more cars in the field, sometimes the more energy that ends up needing to be dispersed. And we start seeing those larger number of packs just lose momentum because there's so many moving pieces in a pack.
Yeah, they got to be organized. Right now, Gitter, Adiciani, Hill, Beneful, Hoffman, they're all organized. They're working as a collective. However, in the back, I seen them, Prinson's kind of like doing the opposite of what Long's doing. They're swerving a little harder. Long's not really pushing Ryan too harshly. Don't quote me on that. That might change. We're right now on board there. Riding there. I don't know exactly what their plan is to be able to catch him, but there's somebody up there on the top still trying to make that lane work. I think he needs to just get in behind and try to get to the finish line here. Ryan, Long, Princeton, Mesnard, that's the front four of the second pack. They got a long way to go, and it's already at 5.3 seconds to the leaders. When they cross the stripe, we're going to find out again how much more time they may be losing. And it looks like when they cross the stripe, it goes from 5.3 over to 6.3. So that was a whole second. They are losing a second a lap to these leaders who are flooring it. But you got to remember, it's not over yet. They got to pit again. Most of these guys got to pit on one more stop. So don't think it's over for them just yet. They got to be smart. I think they could be saving fuel in that second pack. There is a chance that second pack could be saving and this front pack might not be. So we'll see what they decide to do here. But coming through turns 3 and 4, again, their top 5 is Patrick Gitter, Matt DiCiani, Christopher Hill, Adam Beneful, Clayton Hoffman, Paul Hill, Chris Davis in 7th, 8th, Jonathan Delaney, Ralph Hutchinson in 9th, and rounding out the 10 cars that are currently destroying this field is Sean O'Brien Jr.
Yeah, and right now these 10 drivers continue to just pull off and away on the plotting and planning. Pit window is open to make it to the green light on fuel, but you'd have to think the strategy has to be to top off at the end of the race if it comes down to it here. Try and shorten the potential of the pit stop in the late stages if it stays green.
You know, I don't know exactly how they're going to do this. It's to the point where it's like so close that this is going to turn into a fuel mileage strategy race. Who's going to be able to save enough fuel? Who's going to be able... And if you save enough gas, you have a shorter pit stop. So if you have to, you can just quick stop and go and get out of there quickly. I don't know exactly what their plan's going to be, what we're going to see. But these 10 cars up here, they do not want to see any carnage. They don't want to see any accidents. But if we go back and look at the second pack, we have a top line being formed by Brickley on the outside. That's not going to help them catch them. So, I mean, I don't believe that these guys are thinking about catching the leaders anymore. I think that idea has flown out the window, and instead they're trying to best their position in hopes to maybe lead this pack. Here comes the 88 up to the top, the block Brickley. That is Kulmacheski. As well as we got Mesnard going up there too. I think the second pack is where the entertainment's going to be for the next little while, because this could be where the wreck might happen, if it's going to happen anywhere, because the top 10 are not going to try to pass each other, not until at least 5 to go.
Yeah, a lot more racy right now, and then our grouping as drivers just try and say, may as well make some passes. And the thing is, too, there's some people trying to save a little bit more harder on the fuel back here. Speed differential about 10 miles an hour right now down the straightaways. They are starting to actually lift a fair bit in this pack.
Maybe it's possible. It would be stunning to see anyone make it to the end without needing a pit again. It's stunning. I've seen it only ever happen once where it went that long, and that was only because a guy had a lot of help. It's going to be close. We're going to have to see who's going to make it to the end and who's not. And also, you got to know that if there's a caution, that negates everything. So they got to have them in town. Oh, my gosh. Oh, they are 3 wide. One goes below the yellow to avoid dying. A huge checkup. Everybody gets through it barely. Wow, that was almost calamity corner in turn 3.
That was a bit chaotic once again. And once again, a pack splinters. That's going to cost them again a ton more time. Already a quarter of the track distance back at the moment. And that's going to be frustrating to see those types of maneuvers. Look at where they are. They're in 1 and 2 right now. The leaders are all the way midway down the backstretch.
There's no way they're going to be able to catch them. I don't believe it. I do not believe that they're going to be able to catch this lead pack, but they are going to be able to race amongst themselves and do whatever it takes to get them in a better position. As we see the outside line, Miller and Heitman and Kulmacheski. Heitman coming off of that penalty, now running in the 12th place spot, doing a great job recovering from that penalty. But then again, remember what I said, there is tremendous ability to switch from the front to the back in this type of series because you're racing on a super speedway. You can go to the front to the back really simply. You can see their speed limit, right? There's their current speed right now with Heitman. He's up to about 199, 200. Not that 209 most certainly was incorrect, but very close to around 200 miles an hour here. Just trying to make sure that this pack might have a chance to catch up, maybe, but I don't believe it's going to happen. I think right now they got to focus on fuel strategy.
Yeah, that's got to be the focus right now with how many laps are turning away. It's just the thing is, some of these drivers are thinking about that. Others are just thinking foot, floor, fly to the front. Just like what we're seeing with some of the lappers getting pushed to the front. Yeah, that is Hodgson 2 laps down. Oh, that's close.
Oh,
Lucas
very close.
Hoytsma. Lucas Hoytsma nearly got turned.
But he looks calm. Yeah, like I said, every time I see a VR headset driver, I'm one of them myself. I always think he's off in dreamland. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I'm just driving with a VR headset on. I'm having a good time. Oh, man. He's probably pretty having a good time knowing he's only 2 laps down here. He's going to have a lot of help to be able to actually be competitive here. But he's got the speed. He just needs to get those laps back. And the only way you can do that is if you see a couple yellows. But I don't think it's going to happen. He's going to need a lot of help.
Gonna need a million times help with the way things are going, yes. But still seeing some of these other drivers in this pack, like Lawn. Some people try to play around with the gears a little bit right now. Play around, most people staying in 5th gear as to be expected though. Let's go up back front. Patrick Gitter. Is he trying to drop back? No. It looks like just getting a little bit bored on the lines.
No, I don't think so. No, I think it's 100% strategic. He's going up off the. Look at him when he goes into the corner. Stay on board with this guy right here. You're going to see Gitter. He's going to go up high into the corner so that way the car that we're riding on board with, DeCiani, can get some air to his radiator. It's going to cool him down, and he's got about a half of the radiator revealed, so that's going to cool him down to the point where he can get to the backstretch and shove the heck out of the back of that 21. That's what they're doing. They're trying to pull away even farther from the second pack, and it's a smart way to do it. That's why he's moving up. He's not trying to let these guys by. He's trying to make sure that they're working together as a collective to make sure that their engines don't blow. That's what it's all about.
Yes, absolutely. Good call. Still 31 laps to go. And what's going through your mind after so many laps turned in a race like this? What would be going through your mind now in these later stages?
Well, if I were in this top pack, this top 10, my arms would be numb. I'd be gripping the heck out of that wheel. Remember a couple weeks ago I was saying I'm a tight driver. I always like to say I'm tense when I'm racing, but these guys got to remember in their heads. I know I wouldn't remember it, but they got to remember to stay calm, collected, and use your head. Use your head. You got to be smart. You can't just constantly stay tight, because if you do, you're going to have slower reaction times, which is a problem I have, which is why I'm up here in the booth and not on the track right now. But I would tell you right now that these guys, they got to be smart. They got to position themselves, and I would estimate that they're talking to each other. There's no way that these guys aren't just, calming down, thinking they're going to lone wolf this. They got to find a buddy, a friend, somebody in this lead pack that will help them get to the front and work with them as a team. And maybe that would be via a teammate. Maybe that would be from somebody who would owe you a favor, or you want to give them a favor in the future. You got to make a deal. You got 10 cars, make your choice. You can pick your partner. Pick a partner. You got it's enough to where nobody gets left out if everybody picks a partner. But if you got 4 guys or 3 guys working together, then someone's going to get left out.
Yeah, eventually. That's the thing. Still.
Some news. The second pack gained 0.2 on the lead pack this last lap. They went from 9.7 seconds to 9.5 seconds back. That was Lucas Hoetzma's distance between the front and the back. You could see that they are gaining slightly, very slight, but they are gaining from Hoetzma to O'Brien.
That's interesting all of a sudden. I'm wondering if they're just pushing the envelope a little bit harder now that it's a lap car leading the pack rather than one of the leaders.
Maybe. I mean, if I were a lap car and I have no chance of winning, sure, put me in the lead. I'll help you. Let's go. Shove me. And if I wreck, I don't care. I'm already 2 laps down. It's not like it's going to hurt me any worse than I already am. But I just shove the heck out of me and we'll get up to the front, it seems like. But yeah, they are catching it. It's now 9.4. So I don't know if it's enough time, because technically if we're going to keep doing it by 1/10, they're not going to make it. But if they can get 2, 3, 4 tenths a lap, then maybe they can catch them by the end. But then again, you got to remember, we have pit stops. If they can make it, that could happen any lap. But it's still a note to mention that they are catching up to this lead pack.
It's down to about 9 seconds, just about. It might take the whole rest of this stint to close up.
9 seconds. Wow, that was a big. Yeah, there is a chance they're going to get there, but it's going to be surprising. We'll see what they can do. I've seen crazier things here at Daytona.
Yeah, it's going to take some work. But that's partly because they're really separating out a little bit up front. Couple cars could potentially start splintering off here if they aren't careful, by the way. Starting to see some buffers build up with Delaney and company. They are about to lap some more cars, by the way. Devin Medeiros, he's at risk of losing a lap this time by.
Yeah, definitely not the day he wanted to have here. He got involved in that last accident. He's currently my team owner for the Xfinity series that we run in on Friday nights. He is not having a horrible race, but he's about to get lapped. So at this point, he needs to make a choice rather quickly on what he's got to do. He's got to be smart, but this new lead pack has got to make a move, and it looks like that the front 6 have actually separated out. Murray and Dodson here are also working with them. I don't know how this is going to go, but Devin's going to end up being the car in the free pass position right here. We'll see if he's able to get a caution, luckily, or what might happen. But the outside line now is just going to fly by these lappers.
No issues once again. It looks like they're just trying to get everybody just about cleared on through. Now they snake their way past the lappers. No problems for the lead pack to get around the lap cars this time, for the most part, outside of O'Brien and Hutchinson, who did not clear. Coming up to 25 laps to go here from Daytona. Home stretch here in this one as we are running lower and lower on the laps. More plotting and planning. Still, the estimate is 8 laps short is the estimate on the fuel for the pit window.
8 laps. 8 laps. That's a long way to save. I mean, you're going to have to save over 16 miles with that. A lot over that. You're going to have to save a lot of gas to be able to make it there. So I don't see it. I don't see it happen. Not with the way these guys are driving, not with the way the second pack is catching them. They're already at 8.3 seconds now. between the second pack and the lead pack. But then again, that could change. These guys are going to have to pit again. And right now, we'll see what they choose to do. They might go long to have less fuel in the tank. We'll see. But Gitter, DeCiani, Hill, Beneful, Hoffman, top 5 here. They're sitting pretty. They probably feel so dang good right now. They're like, there is no chance I could screw this up. And that's great. That's good for them. But everybody else in that second pack is like hoping, praying that something can intervene in this race to change the course so that way they have another chance at possibly winning the biggest race of the year, the Full Length Cup Challenge 500, FLCC 500. They gotta hope and pray at this point. But you know, something I gotta mention is those 10 cars that passed those lappers. Those lappers are about to lose the draft again. Murray and Devin, you know, they can't even keep up. It could be from the damage, but it could also be that they might not have the same speed that these 10 cars have. So great job by the top 10 to be able to maintain their speed and work together to be able to make it happen. It looks like they are saving a little bit, just a slight amount, I think, because it's about 8.5 seconds, so they're not gaining anymore. That second pack is not gaining anymore.
Yeah, right now it looks like they're in full control of their destinies at the moment. There is some communications popping up on the radio involving the various packs, with drivers trying to sort out their strategies. We do have a huge wave of pit stops. Here we go. The big pack. Yeah, that's the big gaggle of cars electing to come in now.
All right, no mistakes, no mistakes. Oh, Heitman got hit by Hodgson. He was trying to go into his pit stall, and he made contact with Heitman. He's going to have to back up, but then again, he's 2 laps down. It's not going to be a terrible decision here. Oh, he might get DQ'd for backing up too far, but nope, he's good. 76 pulls out, and he's going to actually lead everybody out of the pit lane. The 88 is going to have to get to the back bumper and push him. We're going to have to work together here. Heitman and Kumacheski.
Gonna have to be careful on the tires. Make sure they don't slip and slide.
Yeah, do not slide.
And a lot of people are gonna actually lose a lap here to the leaders for the time being. So it looks like this pack staying on track is gonna go long with 20 to go at the stripe.
They're going to have to go long. I mean, what do they got to lose? They're constantly going to gain on this. The pack's now separated. And not to mention they're catching, they still have some cars that are, they're going to possibly catch that are, if they can put them all a lap down, no worries. Top 10 guaranteed. You are fine. We'll see what they end up doing. We got the 3 cars at the front of this pack. There's not really a pack anymore. They've separated into the 2 groups. Heitman, Hutzma, and Kumacheski are the first 3, followed by Jeremy Miller, Billy Brickley, Evan Mesnard, and Matthew Long. Those are the 4 right behind. I think that they're trying to pull up the Kumacheski to make that 4-pack a possible 7-pack. We'll see if they're able to do so. But that lead pack is catching them, and oh boy, it's not going to be fun for them. Right now we have a total of 17 cars last time by on a lead lap, but that will change most certainly when they cross the line.
New drivers are coming in. Looks like Gitter coming on in with his teammate and a couple others. Paul Hill, Chris Davis. Oh, what a sin. 65 slide in again. O'Brien, a second slide this race.
I don't think I could do that twice if I even tried. I didn't know you could spin it like that, but he somehow learned how to do it multiple times. Oh, Delaney's around. What the heck is...
Jonathan Delaney has looped it on the money stop. What a time for that to happen. Delaney has already lost the pack.
Oh, yeah, that's it for Delaney. He's going to have to hope for a caution right away. He's going to need one. Hall's coming out of the pit lane here. We got a few others. Gitter. We got 4 cars out of that lead pack that are currently going to stick together. Let's look at that replay. What happened to Delaney? Yeah, we're trying to get it exactly right here. Just give us a second here. It's another few seconds before this. We got to get the lead back. We're going to have to go and take a look at that another time. Let's look at the leaders.
Got more
the
pit
Team
stops.
Conti team. Yeah.
Yeah, the Conti cars are in. Chris Davis just exited the pit road. Christopher Hill off and away. Benefield losing a lot of time here in this sequence. Oh, by the way, Benefield has a black flag, so that's why he's not leaving the stall.
That's it for him. Wow, our pole center, the guy who won the duel. Man, that's so unfortunate. Yeah, at 18 to go and you make a mistake like that, now your whole team is in danger because they're coming out of the pits right now with Hill and Hoffman. They are now nose to tail, and they are, guess who's catching them as fast as they can? That's Patrick Gitter, Matt DiCiani, Paul Hill, and Ralph Hutchinson. 4 cars are going to catch these two. And I don't know if they're going to work with them or not, but they're definitely going to have a head of steam when they catch them.
Gonna have a huge run for the race lead here. This is gonna be where they need a slice to the right. Was Chris Hill try and block? Gitter. Does he choose to cut? No. Yes, he does now. Took a moment. Now it's side by side for the lead, coming to 16 to go.
Let's see if that outside line of 4 cars can beat the inside line of 2. Statistically, and what we've seen, it should work. 4 cars is always better than 2. But the problem is if these top 2 pull down before the 4th car's clear, yeah, I was afraid of that. That puts my man Ralph Hutchinson back in the pack in caboose. That puts him currently sitting in the 6th place spot. But these guys are all guaranteed a top 6 right now. They are not the ones to be trifled with. This is going to be quite the race for the win, and it's going to come down to 6 cars. Patrick Gitter, Patrick Gitter, Matt DiCiani, Paul Hill, Christopher Hill, Clayton Hoffman, and Ralph Hutchinson. Those 6 are going to be the ones to determine who might win this race if we don't get a caution.
We'll see which one of those drivers gets the edge. By the way, Derek Heitman, with all those mistakes for the lead pack, jumped up to 7th in the window and is leading the 2nd pack, 8 seconds back. They're going to need to build up a lot more speed than what they have now to be able to have a shot, possibly. Have to keep an eye on that one. Check out the lap times as they build up more speed here in the next little bit.
I don't think they're catching them. I don't think so.
This time by, they actually did close by a 10th or 2, but it's not going to be enough to get there.
Yep, nope, not going to be enough to catch. They might be gaining on him, but at this point, they need a caution. Everybody in this field and their grandmother wants a caution, with the exception of that front 6. They are very happy with where they are. They rather have the points, but at this point, you know, they want a caution so bad. I don't see anywhere where that could actually happen, though. It's single file through most of the packs. I don't see anyone doing double file racing at all throughout this whole field. Just single file racing all the way around as they come to complete lap. We're going to have 14 to go here as they head into turn number 1 again. Man, it's going to be interesting. It's cool to see, though, that we have 2 drivers by the name of Hill running in 3rd and 4th right now. Who knows? Maybe the Hills can try and get to the front.
I don't think there's a relation between the 2.
Oh yeah, I know, but they're Hills, so I just thought it was cool. It's like seeing 2 Smiths. They're not related, but it's a very common last name. But it would be cool to see Hills work together to get to the front.
More lap traffic coming up to 13 to go. That includes Benefield, Davis, Hall, Person. Should see no problems get around this time once again for these drivers. We'll see.
I think the smart thing for that pack to do, Person, Hall, Davis, and Benefield, block the heck out of it. They are currently the tail end of the lead lap right now. If they want to be able to win this race, they got to stay on the lead lap and hope for a caution. So if they do end up getting caught, which I don't anticipate, to be honest with you, with the way they're pushing and the way the speeds look, they might catch them. But if they do, they're not gonna let these guys by. I don't see that happening whatsoever.
Yeah, 12 laps to go. 46 twos now being turned by these drivers in the lead pack. So it becomes the question, when do you make that move? Now we mentioned not going to catch him was the mindset previous. Well, here's the thing. Heitman all of a sudden has found a second a lap the past couple.
No way. No way. That is something. These guys they know that they got to do something. Like I said, anything can happen. It's Daytona. You got to do what you got to do. And pushing the heck out of the car in front of you, that's what you got to do, it seems like, for this pack. They got a long way to go, considering that they're running, I don't think it's exactly a second. We'll see when they cross the stripe here this time. It's, let's see, what do they come up? Oh, wow, a tenth and 2 tenths.
Still 6 seconds, but they are flying. They're a lot quicker with the corners compared to the leaders. They aren't working as well compared to what we're seeing in the second pack right now. I think it's to the end of the straightaway. That's part of it now, as Paul Hill, that time at least, made a triple car tandem.
Yeah, these leaders now are going to be coming up on the back of this lapper line. And remember, I don't think these guys are going to get out of the way. And that's not out of a respect thing. It's out of a selfish thing. They want to be able to stay on the lead lap. That's racing. That's what you're going to do. Run your race, try to stay on the lead lap, and we'll see what they do. Are they going to go up the block? Are they going to try and hang on to this tail end of the lead pack? I think it's something that they might have to do if they want to try and win this race. They got to hope for a caution, and they got to block like hell.
Less than 10 to go in the FLCC 500. Who's going to be $100 richer and get themselves the first checker flag of the season? Lap traffic going around. Hill stuck on the bottom. And they are starting to ditch a car. Ralph Hutchinson is starting to lose the draft. The 8th losing toe as the leaders go to the right.
Hate to see it. Hate to see it at all, but they are side by side now. Beneful and Gitter side by side. Beneful, again, reminder, he is not currently on the lead lap. And neither is Davis, neither is Hall, and neither is Person. But these guys, now, I mean, this is going to give, I believe, this is going to give Christopher Hill a big chance if that outside line fails, but I don't think it will. Hill's going to end up being an odd man out, being stuck behind the lappers. There's going to have to be a big shift in the next few laps to have a chance here. That second pack is now at, looks like 6 seconds to the leaders. Hutchinson's dropped off this pack quite a bit. He's losing quite a bit of time. I don't know if the second pack will pick him up or not, but he's losing quite a bit of time, running maybe 20 mile an hour slower.
They're full on the clutches at that pack by the end, probably. 8 laps to go. Right now, the top 3 have a buffer over the rest of the field because of the lappers. Now they just wait for the calm before the storm, as you can call it.
Oh, it is the calm. Yeah, we're on board now with Christopher Hill. He's got to make a decision here, because right now you got 4 lappers in front of you, and you got, if you want to win this race, you can't be behind them all the time. They're not going to help you, I don't think. So at this point, it's gonna be hard. We got 7 to go. I mean, everybody in this field, with the exception of the top 6, are hoping for a caution. Maybe the top 5 now. It's that close. Second pack is now at 5 seconds back.
Up to 6 laps to go. Running low on laps right now. And anyone will have to make the move. Will it be one of the Forces cars who takes the checker in about 6 laps time? Will it be someone like one of the others like Paul Hill that has quietly been running in this pack since the past few cautions? Or will it be someone like Hill or Hoffman able to drive around the lappers? 6 to go.
They are just staying single file. They're doing the smart thing. You can't fault them for that. 21's still doing the pushing method to be able to make sure the 4 is going to have a cool enough engine to push them away in the event they want to work together to do that. Everybody else, though, if we take a look at that gap, it's at 5.5 seconds. But if that's the case, they need to gain over a second a lap, and I don't see that happening by the end of this race. So, I mean, how do I put this? It's you got to look at fuel now. Make sure that you got enough fuel in your pit stop. You got to make sure that you were able to get through it, and we'll see what happens. Patrick Gitter in the top 5. Those are the drivers that we want to keep an eye on right now. It's their race to lose.
5 laps to go. No one wanting to make the moves yet. Waiting for the right time to do it. And here comes an interesting question. Do you end up ditching out your teammate trying to get a win instead of $100 richer? Or do you just ride behind the teammate?
I mean, at this point, what they might do, you never know what someone is going to be willing to do to win at Daytona. A lot of people are willing to wreck their own mothers to win at Daytona. So it just depends on what type of person you are, what your team motto is, and how the decorum is in your team. But with these guys, you never know. You never know. What we're going to see is, I think the old moniker that I've always followed and what I believe most teams follow is, race your teammate hard, just don't ruin each other's races, essentially. Don't wreck each other, but race hard. So we'll see what they decide to do. But I do want to mention that second pack actually might get there. They're at 3.6 seconds back. This is phenomenal. They are gaining at a rate that is going to possibly put them at a point where they catch them with 1 to 2 laps to go. It's possible. It's not only possible, it's probable.
Wow. What work put in by Lucas Hoisman as the push on Derek Heitman to try and close that gap down. They're still not there yet. 3 laps to go, and they need a lot to happen to go around all those cars in the lead pack. Top 3 starting to build up another buffer again. If they try and catch him, or if they do catch him, it's going to get very wild here. It's 2.5 seconds to the leader. They're within about a second and a half. This could get fun.
They're going to catch him. They're going to catch him. Oh, this is awesome. Let's see what they do. They got to go to the top, though, once they get there. There's no way in heck they can ever do that. They got to keep pushing hard. Keep pushing, buddy. Come on. Come on. Get around there. Come on. 2 laps to go in the crossing stripe. Hill and Hoffman make a move to the outside. That's going to slow down the front pack even more. 2 laps to go here from Daytona.
Oh, and now lappers are coming up to block. Benefield tries to block. The lappers are getting interesting. Hill to the bottom for second. Here comes the block by Benefield. Now DeCiani tries to block the lanes as Gitter goes to the top. Less than a half to go.
Who's it going to be? Going down the backstretch, Gitter in the lead, DeCiani, and Benefield. Benefield's doing everything he can to help his team. I don't know exactly how this is going to end up, but, I mean, we got to hope that we see some good racing coming out of turn 4. Here we go, coming to get the white flag. 1 lap to go here in the full-length Cup Challenge 500. Leader, Patrick Gitter, and then DeCiani in second. Who's it going to be? Here we go. Benefield's going to block the outside line, no doubt.
DeCiani blocking, Gitter blocking.
He's loose.
3 wide with lappers. Now a crash into the wall is Hoffman. He collects Dustin Hall. Race to the checkered is on. Gitter tries to block 3 lanes at once. 3 lap cars move to the bottom of the racetrack. Gitter has Paul Hill in front. Paul Hill trying to find a way around to get around the 21. Final corners for Patrick Gitter. Gitter knows he can use the apron if necessary. Hill doesn't make a move. It's Patrick Gitter who wins it. He wins the FLCC 500.
Wow. You got to admit, in that type of finish, there had to have been some sort of deal with Hill to give him a shot all the way up to the front. Congratulations, Patrick Gitter, getting a win. He has won the biggest race of the year. Patrick Gitter driving, man, great job for him and his whole team. I mean, if you think about it here, one thing you got to see is Patrick Gitter is from Charlotte, North Carolina, driving a Chevy, and he just did exactly what he had to do for Fortis Motorsports. And the odd thing you got to look at here is that Paul Hill is with 1110 Esports, so I'm not sure exactly if they have like an association together, but they definitely helped each other get to the win. But what a finish. That was top tier working together.
Very top tier indeed. But in the end, Patrick Gitter starts off 2025 in victory lane. He led 51 laps tonight. That ended up being the most out of the whole evening. Let's take a break. Celebrations on for Patrick Gitter. You're watching Maconi Entertainment for coverage of the FLCC.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back to tonight's coverage of the FLCC 500. Patrick Gitter still in the midst of celebrating. He is trying to use all the gas left in that car at this point for this celebration. As he continues to burn it on down, let's take a look at your post-race results. Unofficial. Patrick Gitter, Adam Benefiel. Then it's Christopher Hill in the top 3. We'll be speaking with them in just a bit. Derek Heitman, Ralph Hutchinson, the top 5. Matt DiCiani in 6. Then behind them in the running order, or rather Derek Heitman in 6th, Matt DiCiani in 4th. Then Lucas Hoisman in 6th, Cole Macheski in 7th, Berkeley, Mesnard, and Long the top 10.
11th is going to be Ralph Hutchinson, finishing in 11th with that mustache, rocking the day. Sean O'Brien finishing in 12th, getting a great top 15. Jonathan Delaney got 13th here today, with Tanner Marty finishing in that top 15 spot, 14th, with Larry McDonald 15th. Alex Princeton will get 16th. Ed Ryan will get 17th. 18th, Victor Fluger. 19th will be Dave Hutzma. And then 20th will be Clayton Hoffman.
21st went the way of Chris Davis. Benefiel was the one in 22nd. My apologies once again on the totals there. Then you had Jordan Person, Cameron Stone, John Williams, Devin Medeiros, Dustin Hall, Carl Dotson, then Nolan Hodgson, and Alex Murray, your top 30.
Rounding out the rest of the bit here, most of these guys were multiple laps down. That's going to be Jeremy Miller, Andrew Dyson, Robert Miller, Tyler Hunter, Ryan Jones, Cameron Thompson, Stephen Williams, Bobby Anderson, Johan Seminario, Shane P. Davis rounds out your top 40.
That's all top to bottom about the running order for the top 40. Also, Neil Pearson, Brandon Hastings, Kevin Sosiak, Jason Taylor, Chad Sanner amongst the DNF list for tonight's action. Still waiting for some of the drivers to swing on towards the broadcast booth, but we can tell you this, Patrick Gitter is standing on by $100 richer. Patrick, you're the winner of the FLCC 500. How's it feel?
Man, incredible. That was a heck of a race. Challenging race. Saw some adversity, a lot of wrecks we had to get through, and had a little bit of luck on our side, but also, you know, a heck of a team effort supporting us there at the end as well.
Talk to us through what was going through your mind in those final moments as the race was going to the final stretch. You have a teammate behind, and then it gets interesting at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it was challenging because we knew Matt was was tight on temperature, so we were kind of trying to get him as much clean air as he could, stay out front. It ended up 3 wide off of 2, and so at that point, you know, I just had to make a decision, and at that point it was just watching the runs, like where was the run coming. We were top, saw the run coming bottom where Paul was running strong down the backstretch, got in front of him, and then it just looked like after that I think whatever runs that had formed had kind of fallen off, and at that point I felt like the middle and top were dead, and it was just the bottom kind of run, and I was waiting to see if Paul was going to make a move. He didn't. I don't know if that's just there was nothing behind him or what, but heck of a run there at the end. I mean, I was white knuckling it there to the finish.
This basically puts you as the points leader for the season to start things off here. Your thoughts now going into Atlanta next week, back-to-back super speedway races to start the season?
Yeah, I mean they're so unpredictable. You just don't know. It's definitely some weight off the shoulders. Getting a win, good position for points so far. But at that point, still, I mean, I don't think the strategy changes much. I mean, it's going to be a big team effort next week. Help each other, push each other, try to maintain track position as best as we can, and keep the car clean. That's a big point of it as well. So I mean, overall, I don't think the strategy changes all that much. We'll just cross our fingers and hope we can make it to the end of that one as well.
Anyone we want to give a shout out to here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, definitely my teammates, Matt, Derek, Carl. Hate that Carl wasn't able to get back on the lead lap there, but Derek and I were working together fantastic in stage one. We're up front, and then there at the end of the race, same deal with Matt and I. So I mean, team chemistry is fantastic. Shout out to those guys. Shout out Fortis Motorsports, for kind of a new venture for us, me, Matt, and Carl as well. Trying something new on our own, and so I think it'll be challenging, but good experience, and we're having fun with it. So shout out to those guys. Also Matt and Alex for the paint I was running tonight as well. So and certainly you guys up in the booth for hanging around for a full-length race.
Congratulations once again on the win tonight.
Yep, yes sir, appreciate it.
Patrick Gitter coming away with the win here tonight. Paul Hill came away in second. He chose to ride behind to the checker flag. He is with Kirk.
Yeah, hey, Paul, man, you probably wanted to win that race, but what more did you have to do to be able to get by him? Or did you want to hang out behind him the whole time? What was your thoughts heading out of turn 4?
Well, to be honest with you, it was kind of a wild finish there, being 3 wide, and honestly, I need to thank Chris Davis. He gave me the punch to give us the run, and Pat dropped down in front of us, and I linked up with him. And Chris kind of got sucked off of me whenever 2 cars get linked up like that. The third car lags behind. And I didn't think I would be able to pull out with this new draft model getting up on his right quarter. I just felt like it would have stalled both of us out. And so, I didn't really feel like I had much of a choice. I didn't really know how far out everyone else was behind Chris or what kind of runs were coming from back there. So, I just kind of took the safe route there and pushed Pat to the front there. It wasn't, of course, my first choice. I would have much preferred to win, but the second place, the first race of the year, I'm not going to complain, especially with the adversity I met at this track this week. Getting wrecked in that first stage, I don't even know what to call that incident, I guess. I had a lot of damage, and I was able to get it fixed, and I was like 5 seconds away from being lapped, or 10 seconds away from being lapped at the end of the second stage. So, to be able to rebound from that and come back with a second place finish, I'm very happy. Win would have been nice, but, take what you can get and be proud of the effort, I guess.
Absolutely. I noticed that your teammate, Chad Sanner, you both are racing together for 1110 Esports, and unfortunately, he had just a very rough part to the beginning of his race. He ended up finishing in 45th today. Was he any part of and any help to you whatsoever at the end of this? Did he hop out of the car and try to help you whatsoever, or were you lone wolfing it at that point? And if so, how on earth did you still finish in the top 5 after having the amount of teammates that you had left? You didn't really have too many.
Yeah, unfortunately, Chad got damaged literally lap 1. I guess there was a big checkup back there. He started on the tail end, and he got damaged, and his race was pretty much over before it ever started, which, I feel bad for him. Chad's a great dude, a good friend of mine, and, shout out him. But unfortunately, no. And he did stick around for like the first half, but after I got the damage, he pretty much thought my night was over about as much as I did, and he went to go do other things. So I was pretty much all alone, didn't have any communication with anybody. So I just kind of burdened the load and went for it and took the runs I could get. And the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So I picked whoever had the run at the time and went with them and prayed I didn't get wrecked, to be honest, here at these plate races. So, like I said, I was very happy to come out with a second place finish considering all things.
Well, I bet you most certainly made a whole lot of friends over there in Gitter's camp over there. So in this case, I'm sure in the next race, we got another super speedway race in Atlanta. Do you have anything you want to say or anybody that you want to shout out here before we go to Atlanta?
Yeah, first off, I'd like to shout out Dent Slayer and all those guys. They provide the tools for me to do my job outside of the sim, so I always give them a shout out. I want to say thank you to them. 1110 Esports, Chad Sanner, System Decal, they build my awesome liveries every year, and want to thank them, and that's about it. Look forward to Atlanta.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much for coming and talking with us. Hope we see you over in Atlanta and see you in the top 5 again.
Appreciate it, guys.
Paul Hill coming away second spot tonight. Third spot standing on by Christopher Hill coming away in third. Chris, what was that going to your mind going through the final stretch as you had to try and not only find your way to the front, but also find your way around lap cars in that final stretch for the race?
Yeah, I had like a big old hole punched in my nose. I had about 40 seconds of damage for the majority of the race, and there was no way. I started 44th. There was no way in hell I was going back there again. That is just not where you want to be. So I opted just to race with it instead of fixing it. So, we were limited on what the car could do pushing wise and stuff. So, I made the bad call when we caught that lap car pack to try to just play the numbers game and stick the 3 lead cars on the top, and maybe the lap cars would just pick up the pace when we got there. And I ended up just stuffing a bunch of lap cars between us. And then, we made a run at it, did the best we could, but I had a big, like I said, I had a hole in my nose, couldn't really push, got a little chaotic, but, all in all, just got to leave with good points.
Overall, how would you describe some of the adversity that you had to go through in this entire past couple weeks to be able to get yourself in this position in the first place, from the incidents that put you in the back in the first place, from the duels to now having to fight your way through that damage to get to the top 3?
Yeah, coming anywhere than like 15th through a pack that's like wound up is pretty hard. So, just had to honestly do pit road strategy, and just once you're in the top 10, you can kind of control what's going on, but it's so hard, and I knew there was no way I was just going to drive from 44. So we had to, take our medicine on some longer stops here and try to cut some time there. And eventually we got up here, and then with my damage, we'd go through a restart cycle, and inevitably I'd end up like 3rd in line. I felt like I was 3rd for 150 laps that race, but just like I said, just trying to salvage and just taking what I could get.
What's your approach going to be for Atlanta next week if we do see you at Atlanta?
I plan on running the whole season, so we'll be there. I expect another plate race, maybe with a little more handling. I don't really know what the weather's looking like, if it'll get hot, but I think the goal to come out of these first couple plate tracks is just solid points, and I guess not really piss anybody off before we get into the meat and potatoes of the season.
Anyone want to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, my Altus teammates Clayton and Robert for the couple times we were able to hook up in the race, and then obviously everybody over at Apex Sim Racing, VRS, and then all the Altus guys that worked on the setup. We've been racing Daytona now for feels like ever, but we did a lot of work on the setup, obviously, with the Coca-Cola series as well. So thanks everybody for the help on that as well.
Congratulations on the top 3, Chris.
Thank you, guys.
Christopher Hill rounding out the top 3. I'd like to thank the entire top 3 for speaking with us during post-race coverage here on Maconi Entertainment. Your final thoughts on this one, Kirk, as in the end, more than 3 hours of action comes down to Patrick Gitter taking the checker flag to pick up the win.
Well, final thoughts here for me is absolute domination by that front group of cars. They did an absolutely masterclass of how you manage a super speedway race. They were able to be in the front. It didn't matter. They went through adversity. They had problems with speeding through pit road, a couple cars, but still, even in the end of the race, some of the team's lap down cars still showed up and tried to help out their teammates. So, at the end of the day, it was a team effort. Everybody over there, congratulations again to the entirety of the top 3, doing a great job, and everybody over there at Fortis Motorsports for working together to be able to win the biggest race of the year. And we cannot wait to go next week to go to Atlanta, see who the heck's going to end up winning that one. And that's a lot tighter quarters. We're going to a super speedway that's like the baby super speedway, so it's going to be crazy, and I cannot wait for that. We'll see y'all next week on Saturday. That's all I have in my final thoughts.
Next race going to be at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Once again, to catch that from Maconi Entertainment's coverage, February 22nd, 8:30 p.m. the start time. Be sure to tune in for that action, which should be a fun one for the FLCC. Once again, it's time to say goodbye, though. Calling the action tonight was myself, Justin Prince, alongside Kirk Mills and Marty Sakawa as our producer. Thanks to all our viewers for watching tonight's action, and we hope you stay tuned to our social media pages for our next race. Thanks to the entire staff for their work in bringing this racing to you. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you next time.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.